Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gamers of a Lost Spark podcast. This is episode 12 and we're recording this on the 29th of July 2015. I'm Antony Chesson and joining me as always is the other spark on the pod, the man that puts the funky in Spelunky, is Mr. Darren Whittam.
Nice one. Hi Antony.
I've been thinking about that all week, you know that, don't you? I'm like, what can I say? What can I say?
I love it, the funky in Spelunky. And I don't think I don't think I mentioned Spelunky last week, but I'd had a little break from it, but I have ended up playing it a little bit this week. Not that I've put it down in the games I've been playing section because I thought everyone might be a bit bored of it. But yeah, I sort of revisited it. But wow, what an intro.
Awesome. So how have you been anyway? What have you been up to this week?
What have I been doing this week? Let's have a think. Well, I pre-ordered a game that I'm very excited about.
Nice.
It's Rare Replay. Hooray!
Yay!
Yeah, so I thought you'd be impressed with that. So
I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I've pre-ordered that, and I'm very happy. And I was excited about it and everything, but I sort of wasn't letting myself get hyped up for it. But now that I've pre-ordered it, and it's only sort of a week away, I'm just really, really hyped up and excited for it. I can't wait to get it. I was tempted to go digital for my pre-order, and I got so far as to actually go onto the store. I wasn't on my Xbox at the time, so I had the tablet in my hand, so I was on my iPad, and I went onto the website store.xbox.uk. Store.xbox.com I kept getting to, so I only got dollar fees, and I was thinking, well, if I buy it from this American store, is that going to work? I wasn't sure, so it took me a little while to actually get entry into the British store. I found it quite hard work, actually. I didn't do it through SmartGlass or anything. I was just doing it through the web browser.
I was going to say that's probably what your problem was, because from the SmartGlass app you can just hit like store, play, and then it just turns on your Xbox and starts downloading.
Yeah, silly me though. I did it the hard way, didn't I? So I got onto the American store, and I think it was $30, as they say. I was like, right, okay, that's fine. And then I finally got onto the English site, or the British site, the UK site. And it was, how much was it there? I think it was like £19.99. So I did a quick, a bit anal like this, always looking for the best deal. Don't want to feel like I'm losing 2 pence or something. So I did a quick conversion, and it was a little bit cheaper from the American site. And I was like, that just reaffirmed my usual little huff that I do. I was like, humph, as usual, we get the worst deal in the UK. Why don't they adjust it properly? Blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I was just about to press the button on it because I thought, this is classic. Anthony's going to be proud of me because I'm going to get a digital pre-order. And I like that, because once you do get into digital, it's a pain to get off your backside and go and change the disc, or I find that at least, because you get used to it, don't you? You're just like, I'm the king. I can just play all these different games and not move. It's fantastic. But then I just thought, hold on a minute. Just for peace of mind, I'll just have a look how much it would be for a physical copy. So I went round a few of my favourite sites and had a look. And the best deal that I found was from a website called The Game Collection, which I've used before. I got Bloodborne from there, and I think Dragon Age as well. And in both cases, they delivered them for release. So I had them on day of release. And it was only £16.45 from there.
Right.
So I did it with them. I thought, can't look a gift horse in the mouth, really. And because they've always delivered by release, I'm not worried that I'll have to wait. And then, if I ever do decide to get rid of it, I could sell it.
Why would you do that? Why would you ever get rid of Rare Replay? Why?
This is a very good question, right? So I thought to myself, anyway, I was like, even if I get rid of it for like £6.45, that means I only spent a tenner on it. But exactly as you say, why would I ever get rid of it? And I said this about Bloodborne as well. I was like, I'm getting it for this price, but I'll buy the physical copy, because then if I sell it, it'll only have cost me this much. But because I'm only buying like quality games that I really love, I don't really see that I'm going to ever sell them. So it's a bit weird. So I could just get away with buying digital anyway, and then it would be convenient for maybe future backwards compatibility if it follows suit with the trend that Microsoft have introduced. So
yeah. But you've still got time to cancel that physical order and go for digital, haven't you? I just find it as kind of that, especially Rare Replay, it's kind of one of those games where, you're just sitting on the sofa, you could be playing something, and you're like, do you know what, I fancy a game of Battletoads, or I fancy a game of jetpack or something, and you can, for me, I can just double. I'm like 3 clicks away from the Rare Replay, and I've got an external drive, so I'm never going to be jostling for space. I've got plenty at the moment, and it's just one of those games that I just will feel that I would just be kind of dipping in and out of constantly. I did that this week when we get to our kind of what we've been playing, but I did that this week with Halo. Sunday it was horrible, it was raining, and I was playing Batman, and then I just thought, what, I fancy a game of Halo, and I didn't even have to get up because both of them are digital. I didn't even have to get up. I just kind of a couple of taps, and I'm playing that game. And for me, I just love that, even though I'm only 8 foot away from my console. There's the fact that it was just so easy just to kind of jump in and out of the games.
I think the marketing guys are missing out on something here, because we've obviously hit something. The way that they should be selling digital, even, no matter what, is just because you don't have to get up and change the disc. We both love it.
Yeah.
You love just sitting there, and it's like, I fancy a bit of this, I fancy a bit of this, and you just you're master of your domain, the controller in your hand.
Yeah. And you don't even have to get up. You don't even have to. You just, there could be a really cool advert with the two of us. We are available for acting. We just sit on our couches and just do a big huff, and then just go for the digital. And I just find it. I just like it. I've got space at the moment in my cupboards, which is Blu-rays and a lot of Disney Infinity figures and things like that. So it's not like I'm fighting for space. It's more just of an ease of use thing that I like.
Yeah, it's absolutely that. It is, and it is a space thing as well. It's just clutter. I sort of look at my DVD and Blu-ray collection, not in my games yet, but when I say this, it makes me think that my games should be added, just logically to this, as just clutter really, and as archaic, because it should be digital. It makes sense for it to be digital. My only reservation with media like that is, and I don't think they'd ever do it, and I think I mentioned this the other week, is say you bought Star Wars and you bought it digitally and it had a guarantee. And it was like, right, you bought Star Wars, fantastic, thanks for buying Star Wars digital in 1080p, your Blu-ray edition. Future editions will cost you a nominal upgrade fee, something like that. So when it gets to 4K, you pay a season pass. Do you know what I mean? And then you're covered. You've got for certain series or certain films or whatever, or documentaries or whatever, you could pay a season pass or something, or pay as you wish, but it isn't buying it all again. It's like, right, you've got the license, you've bought the license for that, like you do with software. And it's like, okay, you will pay, I don't know, 10 quid for your next remastered Star Wars. And I think if that was the case, I'd be much more tempted to just clear out everything and throw it in the bin, or sell it or give it to the charity shop, and then and get everything digital, because that'd be cool, and I feel that was protected going forward. But then what happened? Yeah, I was going to say what happens when the internet goes down, but you've got the digital version at home, haven't you, on your drive? So there's no real loss there, and because the store would have a record. If you do lose it, or have a hard drive failure, as long as you can get it again, jobs are good, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I just find that, especially with like Apple, iTunes and things like that, if I buy a movie, I've got it on my iPad, I've got it. I would never really watch a film on my iPhone, but I've got it on my iPad, I've got it on my Apple TVs that are around the house, and I can just go to any one of those and just stream it straight away. And again, it's kind of that broadband speed, because some people, they don't have the broadband speed where they could just do that, but it's very easy for me just to go to any room, hit Apple TV, and then just watch that movie. So I find that the digital thing is very enticing for me. I still find the things that stop me sometime is if I'm going to take a game back. So if I think I'm only going to play that maybe once and then take it back, like a Call of Duty or something like that, where with Call of Duty I'm a bit weird, really, because I kind of enjoy the Jerry Bruckheimer story or the campaign, and then once I've done that, I then take it back to game and kind of when it's still a very optimum price, and then get some kind of game credits for then my next Disney Infinity figures or something like that. So that's kind of a game that I would never really buy digitally, because I just like to just kind of have that balls to the wall campaign, enjoy it, and then it's gone. But for the rest of it, like I say, the one gripe I do have is that you do pay RRP on all of those digital games. Sometimes like at the moment, the PlayStation Store has a summer sale, and they've got some great games discounted. You've got Alien Isolation for about £14 if you're a PS Plus member. They've got Far Cry. They've got quite a lot of that sort of stuff. So at that point, it's great. But if you want to get it when it's brand new, you are paying that RRP.
Yeah, you are. And I mean, I got Rise with my Xbox One. Rise is the game that made me get an Xbox One because I wanted something that was, all singing and all dancing, and I loved it. Yeah, it was a bit short. I liked it. I don't care what the review says. 6 out of 10, schmicks out of 10. I don't care. I enjoyed it. And but once I'd done it, I sort of got rid of it as well. While it was still carrying sort of a decent price tag. And then I wouldn't mind playing it again. So I had a look on the Xbox Store for that, and it's like $44.99 or something. And I was just like, "You joking?" You can go uptown, you can get that for probably £20. So you're paying over over the RRP. I bet you could get a new copy for cheaper. That was a used copy. I bet you could get a new copy of Rise cheaper than the store. But then it all comes back to that they don't want to annoy the distributors and all the rest of it.
Yes.
I read an interview about that a few weeks ago, and it was I've forgotten if I talked about it on here, but there was an industry guy saying about the reasons, and basically it was that he didn't say it in as many words as this, or as directly as this, but basically you need to keep the high street sweet, because they're the distributors of the consoles, etc. And until sort of they don't need a high street distributor, it's going to stay the same, really. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I feel these days when I'm putting a disc in, if it's not a game, if I'm putting any kind of disc into a machine, so I suppose just films, I just feel it's a bit archaic. But I don't with games. With games, I'm happy. I smile as I see like the printout on The Witcher looking at me, or Bloodborne, and I see that art on the disc, and I'm like, oh, classic. But with the Blu-rays and stuff, I just think it's old-fashioned. I almost feel like it's like I'm putting a tape into a video cassette recorder these days. But for some reason, games, I like it because the good thing I like about it, and I agree about that digital bit about just sitting and chilling. But I like to interact with the console that I love so much. I like to feed it.
That's what you're doing. You're feeding it goodness by slipping a game in.
Here you go.
Yeah, mine's obviously like a waif at the moment because it just never gets fed. It just I kind of have an intravenous drip, which is my USB drive. So that's where it gets its games from.
It's on the Call of Duty Atkins diet.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it gets. It just gets fed once a year.
But yeah, you've got loads of space on your Xbox, and I've now got more space on mine because another thing I did this week was I reset my Xbox back to default settings, as I've been threatening to do. We were talking about getting annoyed that the updates weren't updating when it was off. Mm-hmm. So I just thought, because I'm not in the same position as you, even though it just downloads it all anyway, I thought, it's no great loss for me doing this. The only things I'm playing on my Xbox One are Minecraft and a few games for my son. There's nothing really. So I thought, let's do it. Instead of moaning about it, let's just do it. And the only thing I did do, I was like over the button, ready to reset. And Claire piped up with, "Are you sure your Minecraft save? Would you not need to save your Minecraft saves?" And I was like, oh. And I was like, I don't know actually. So I had a quick look, and I couldn't see anywhere where you could access the saves. And I was sort of like, I'm sure these are all on the cloud. It's part of the Xbox One sort of. The whole thing about it is that it saves to the cloud and stuff. And I was like, and I went, right, stop thinking about it, and I just did it. I said, it's too late, I've done it. I'm sure that I'm right. And if we're not, I'll pay the.
Then all hell is going to break loose. I'd have heard that from here. I'd have heard the scream all the way from Blackpool to Tunbridge Wells.
But so it did its factory reset, which is really quick. It was a lot quicker than I expected. It just sort of reset, just like just one power cycle, really. Wow. But then it did an update that took ages. And that was there for that. So that was an attended update, so I can't moan about it. But yeah, I had my saves. So my Xbox is now ready and primed. Checked all the settings again. So I'll be interested to see what happens with the next update. I didn't lose my preview program. It just got everything from my gamer tag. So it just like when we first set it up, and you just put your gamer tag in, and it's just really cool. So that was really good. I did that, and I will report on that. When we get an update. The other thing that was exciting for me this week was I took part in the Street Fighter V closed beta.
Oh yeah,
yeah, man. Yeah, I was so excited to get the... I got an email. I'd forgotten that I'd applied for it. And then I got an email saying from PlayStation saying, yeah, you've been successfully enrolled in the Street Fighter 5 beta. I was like, wow, what a great surprise this is. It's fantastic. And it's a good contrast from what I'm playing, you know. So I thought, right, this is good. So it said, like, it opens at 2 a.m. I think it was like Saturday, just gone. In the morning, 2 a.m. Saturday morning. So I was like, right, okay. So Saturday, I'm always up very early. So I got up, downloaded it. And I tell you something, man, I thought I was quite good at Street Fighter, but it's so hard. Street Fighter 5 is absolutely solid. I don't know how you are at games, but I couldn't get past the start menu.
Oh no! Was it a very quick beta then? Are they?
Yeah. I thought I was a skilled gamer, you know, but I couldn't get off that title screen. Didn't? What a fantastic setup like that.
Wowzers! So is it that bad?
Well, you can't get the beta is now closed. They took it offline.
Oh really?
So. Yeah, I was trying to get on it and just kept getting an array of error messages, which when I looked up, they were like server full or disconnected from server. And so I tried for probably longer than I should have. I did do a tweet saying that if I'd have actually played Street Fighter 5 for as long as I tried logging into it, I'd probably be world champion. So I never got to have a go at all.
Oh, wow.
Neither did pretty much everybody in Europe, and probably only 90% worldwide or something. In the end, there were some apologetic emails from Capcom US and Capcom UK and Capcom generally. What they did, they sort of closed it down even further and said that basically all we're going to be, because it was a 5-day beta, and they said basically what we're going to do is it's only going to be North America and it's going to be very limited. So hardly anybody got to play it. And I still tried. I was still trying to get in. You know, I'd say, right, I'll give it a go. And one night I spent like an hour and a half just sat there. I was doing something else. What was I doing? I was doing something else.
Probably resetting your Xbox at the same time.
Yeah, maybe doing that. 2 controllers in there. Yeah. But I was doing something that I can't remember what it was. It can't have been like Spelunky or something because I couldn't have done that with one hand. But anyway, and all I was doing was just like kept pressing the X button, you know, in the other hand every time I heard it reset. Ting, it was like ding, nothing. So yeah, I was joking about it being very hard. It's just, you know, impossible to beat because you can't get into it.
Wow.
But I think, you know, that's the idea of beta.
Yep.
So I think that it's a good thing. You know, imagine if that was on a launch. You know, it'd just be. We've had a lot of problems with like Battlefield and things like that with similar issues. Maybe not as harsh as that. I don't know. I didn't get involved in that. But I thought, well, you know, that's the idea of a beta. And if it's not going to work, let's let it fall to its knees now. Capcom have said, yeah, fair enough, we're sorry about the inconvenience. What they did say, they said, we want the participation in the beta to be a positive experience. This isn't positive, so we're gonna take it offline. We're gonna come back with another beta when hopefully we've addressed the issues. So that was something. And the only other thing that I did was I upgraded to Windows 10.
Oh, right.
On my laptop today, as it came out today, being the 29th of July. I was thinking, I won't bother getting it. I'll wait until, you know, all the snags have sort of been worked out. And then this morning I just thought, you know, I could just get it, couldn't I? And I was thinking to myself, well, the technical preview has been out for ages. People have been using it for, you know, a number of months. Had a quick search online. Everybody was saying it was okay. Checked that some of the programs that I used worked okay. Saw good reports. And I thought, you know what? A bit like my resetting of my Xbox. I thought, you know, let's do it. So I'd already reserved the copy through Windows 7. So yeah, I've installed it and I'm on it now. We're running on Windows 10 now, so I've had a bit of a play today, and it seems pretty cool. The upgrade went really well. Interestingly, I thought the new browser of Windows 10 was called Spartan. To sort of marry alongside Cortana being the personal assistant like Siri that they've got built in. It's actually been renamed to Edge. So
you know, because it definitely was, wasn't it? It definitely was called Spartan. I'm sure I've seen lots of kind of adverts and things like that where they were saying it was Spartan or kind of walkthroughs.
Yeah, I think it was called Project Spartan.
Ah, right, okay.
So, you know, project name, work in progress name, something, but it's called Edge anyway. So, yeah, it's called Edge. it seems like a good browser, but I've got into Chrome these days, so I'm all in Chrome. All my stuff's saved in Chrome, so I find it difficult to sort of use another one. But it does seem pretty.
So you installed Windows 10. You it didn't have a Spartan name, so you just kind of minimised it and then installed Chrome on there instead.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I already had Chrome on Windows 7, and it's kept everything that I already had. So it's an in-place upgrade. So when it was installed, when it finished installing, my wallpaper's the same, the layout of the icons on my desktop, all my stuff's there, even my icons along the taskbar at the bottom, everything's the same. So that's why I say it's worth doing. Everything's the same. There's been no messing about trying to reorganise files or folders or anything like that. My browsers, Firefox is there as well, which I had already installed. All my programs were already there in the same places that they were. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great upgrade then. If that just kind of did an in-place upgrade, that's really cool.
Yeah, it does. It's as if it just writes a little bit like, I don't know if you're a bit of an IT guy. So if you fix an operating system, you can just install like your, say, Windows 7 over the top of Windows 7, and it will only touch the system files, a bit like a system restore, and everything else is just left the same. So it's like that. It's upgrading it instead of going backwards, or just fixing it. It's doing the same thing as that, but it's upgrading it at the same time, and everything's just, all the good stuff's upgraded, and all the stuff that you want to keep, all your personal stuff and your apps and everything, your programs are all left as they were.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. I might give that a go. I've got it in a kind of boot camp on one of my MacBooks. I might give that a go and just kind of upgrade it and see if that works.
Yeah, it's really cool. And some of the features that are included are Cortana. So you can say, "Hey Cortana, tell me what the weather's like," and then she pops up. Well, she doesn't pop up as a person, but then Cortana speaks to you and says, it goes and finds out what the weather's like in your area and says, "Yeah, the weather's like this." Da 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 da. Cortana, "Hey Cortana, tell me a joke." She'll tell you a joke. "Hey Cortana, hey, how are you?" She said, "I'm fine. How are you?" So it's pretty good. You can say, "Hey Cortana, go on and find me something on the web." "Hey Cortana, go to Google." She just says, "No, you can't go to Google. You've got to go to Bing."
She's like, "I'm sorry, I don't recognise Google. Yeah. Here's Bing instead."
I think I said, "Hey Cortana" a few too many times then, and she opened up on my operating system just then. So that's pretty cool. So you get Cortana, and you get the Xbox app, which is really cool. So you open the Xbox app, and it's a bit like Smart Glass, really. But it's there as a persistent app in your operating system. Through it, you can talk to friends, see what friends are playing, look at your gamer score. You get your avatar. You see your avatar, which you can't do on the Xbox One so well, and you can manipulate your avatar on there. But even better than that, which is just kind of convenient, you also can stream your Xbox One to it, and that's built straight in. So I've had a test with that, and I showed you a bit of that earlier today. And it works really well. It works like a dream. So, if somebody commandeers the Xbox One TV, you can take your Windows 10 machine. If it's a laptop, it'll be easy to carry it in another room. Or if it's a desktop that's already set up in another room, go in there, open up the Xbox app. You can turn on your Xbox from the Xbox One app once it's been connected or paired, if you like. So you can turn it on from the PC, stream it, and there you go. You can play it on your PC screen. And that you can do everything as well. I haven't done an exhaustive test, but you can certainly play all the games. You can even watch TV through it. So it's really good.
Wow, so if you've got your Xbox kind of plugged up to TV, then you could then stream you can play TV through your Xbox and stream your Xbox through your PC.
That's right, yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really good, isn't it? Like I say, if you have just got like one screen and and someone wants to watch something, and then you could, like I say, you got a laptop, you can just take it to another room, plug in a joypad, and then off you go. Yeah. That's really cool. I think
that's the great thing. And yeah, you do need to have a joypad for it to work. It'll pop up with a message saying there's no controller connected, but you can plug in your Xbox One controller with your Xbox One charger straight into the USB on your machine. And it instantly recognises it, and there you go. You're off playing whatever you want straight away, and navigating through the UI, and watching TV or whatever you want to do. It's really
That's really good. That's really good.
There's me thinking that I hadn't had a busy week when I was trying to think about what I've done this week. I was thinking, I haven't done much, but actually I've gone on for 20 minutes about it. But that's my week. What about your good self?
Oh, well, me, kind of one of the standout points was midweek over on PlayStation 4. A friend of mine, he's new to the PlayStation, just bought a PlayStation. He's got Arkham Knight. He's been kind of playing Arkham Knight. Hasn't played any of the other Batman games. This is kind of his first kind of dip into a Batman game, and having a bit of a struggle on possibly like a very kind of early, but one of the hardest things that you have to do in Arkham Knight. It comes quite early in the game, and it really did. When I played it the first time, it tripped me up kind of time and time again. So he just kind of pinged me a message, said, I'm having a bit of a problem, can you give me a hand? What am I doing wrong type thing? So we set up a party in PlayStation 4, which is something I'd never done before, which was, kind of, okay, you could do this over Xbox. I'm used to being over in Xbox, so this is like, I'm in someone else's house. It's a bit weird. Yeah. It is. So we did it. So I just got I think I was listening to a podcast or something, got my headphones, just got my normal, iPhone headphones, my Bose sound cancelling ones, plugged them into my PlayStation controller. I could hear him. I could hear, everything was working. So that was kind of different to the Xbox. And then, so we set up a party, and my mate said, right, okay, I'm just going to share. So he did a share. It does a quick check. Both of our networks were okay. And it put us into, I was seeing his screen. So I said to him, kind of show me what you're doing. And he was going through his level, almost getting to the end, but just kind of failing just right at the last bit. And then he said, right, well, what I'll do is, we said, right, kind of hand over the controller to me. And then a push of the button on the PlayStation, I was then playing his game. So I'm sitting there, I'm in my movie room, he's in his house. I haven't got Batman installed on PlayStation 4, but I'm playing on the share play feature on the PlayStation 4.
Wow.
And it was fantastic. There was hardly any lag. I mean, it was, like I say, it's a really tricky section, and lag was possibly, the difference between succeeding and failing. And there was no lag at all. He's got good broadband, and it was just jumping around. I was just being able to jump around and take out this helicopter. And it was just fantastic. And it was such a great gaming moment as well, because, I'm there, I've jumped in, helping out a friend who is brand new to a PlayStation, bought it because he listened to us waxing lyrical about gaming and Arkham Knight.
Excellent.
So I kind of felt, I felt a bit,
just it's like, you made me spend this money.
Yeah, I'm like, sorry, mate. But no, it was really cool. So I'm there and I'm playing. Took me a couple of goes because, it was obviously I had to get used to the controls on the PlayStation 4. But it was just fantastic. It was such a great experience. I'm there going, we're getting there. My mate was kind of going, you're almost done. And I'm there shouting down the thing. My wife's telling me to be quiet, We're just like, I was on the edge of my seat. He was on the edge of his seat. And like I say, after a couple of times we did it. And then he hit the back button. And that was it. He was then taking control of his game again. And I knew that feature was there, but I just never used it. And I just think, if you listen to this, give it a try, because this is a way that, say for instance, Darren, I haven't played Bloodborne. And if I wanted to try Bloodborne, I could actually just jump into a brand new one of your games, obviously not your save that you're using at the moment, and I have 60 minutes where you can give me the controllers. You could give me the controller, go off and play on the Xbox or do something, and I've got 60 minutes where I can play. So last week when we were saying that there aren't any demos, on PlayStation 4, if you've got a mate that's got a game that you want to try, then you can set something like this up and you've got that demo.
That's so cool. Yeah, and it's almost like a virtual couch co-op, because you're almost there with your mate on, in the same room almost.
You are indeed. And if you've got a game, say, for instance, like, I don't know, Lego Batman or something, one of those Lego games where you can split screen, I could join as player too.
So when he hands over control, can he still control as well then?
Well, not in Batman, because it's a single-player game.
But in a game like that, because like Spelunky's got a deathmatch that's not online. It's like Bomberman, for instance. So it's like up to 4 players, but all in all at home, all on the same console. So something like that, like you're saying about a Lego game, it would work that you could both operate a different character.
You can indeed,
that's
yeah.
So cool.
So because Because after I got off this session, I thought I'll just have a quick read up about it. And they were saying, this is a great way of doing those same screen two-player games. And that's what, Lego games are. And I just thought it was just a fantastic feature. And it was just we both came off it on a bit of a high. We were talking about it the next day at work. It was just a really good kind of gaming moment. And I felt great as well that I'm helping out a mate who got stuck. And I just thought, when I get stuck on a PlayStation game, I'm going to give him a shout or give you a shout and say, can you do this for me? And I don't, I just thought it was really cool. And I just thought it was worth a mention.
Yeah, definitely. No, it definitely is. I mean, I got all excited about it when it was first announced. And I jumped on and had a go. And it never worked for me. And I was like, oh, this is so annoying. And turns out it's my fault because my upload's completely shot. I've only got like 0.8 meg upload where I live at the moment, which is dire. So I can't do it, I don't think. But maybe things have improved, I wish. So I was really excited about it, but I just sort of got in a huff. I haven't used it since.
Yeah. I think you need at least 3 meg upload. When we were testing it, I had something like... It was really weird because when I did a speed test on my iPhone, it said I had 18 meg upload. But when I did a test on the PlayStation Network, it only said I had a 7. But that might just be because my PlayStation's in an AV cupboard downstairs in the movie room. And maybe all of that is just kind of dampening that speed because it's wireless, it's not wired. But I think you need between 3 and 4.
I'm so frustrated about my upload, and I never used to care about upload, but these days in the age of streaming and remote play, etc., and YouTube and things, it's just so much more important, it's a necessity, really. You can't just get away with having sort of like 50 meg down and like 0.8 up like me. It's just makes me sad. But I was also thinking, like you're saying there, for help. When you get stuck on a game or a bit of advice or pointers or even a demo service, maybe you could set up a website for that and just say, what we'll do. You can make it all legit and say, you're not going to just keep giving people hours and hours and hours so they complete the game. But everybody that joins the site, say, can have one 60-minute session on any game. And there you go. And, people like us or whoever was doing it, you just go, right, okay, you're set up for this time. Set them off to play it, then it automatically stops after an hour, and they've had the demo. We could rejuvenate the demo experience that we lament so much ourselves by setting up this website, and people will say, right, they'll join up, and it's a lot of work, a lot of work to do for free, but you could do something like that.
Yes, absolutely. But, as well as that, I just thought it was great just to, like I say, there's been a couple of games where I've been frustrated or I've left a game because it's just too hard or I've given the controller to my wife but just said, Nicola, could you do this bit for me? And she's gone past it. Or even my nephew. When I was playing Ori and the Blind Forest, true story, I was playing Ori and the Blind Forest, I got to a point and I just couldn't do it. I got to a point when I was, raging inside. And my nephew came over, Ed, and he came over and I just said to him, have a look at this. What do you think of this game? Just getting him excited about it. So he went, oh, it's really lovely. It looks really good. I went, see if you can do these jumps. And I talked him through the bit that he had to do. I think it was about the 4th time and he done it. And then he's just kind of handed me back the controller with his cute little smile and went, there you go. And I was just like, oh, I felt really bad that day.
I was going to say, did you feel that you were losing your way as a gamer?
I really did. I was like, oh my God, my reactions are not as fast as Ed's. But it was just so funny. It was just how he just kind of took about 4 times and just grinned at me and gave me the controller back. So...
Brilliant.
Love him. Right, so what else have you been playing this week? So that's kind of a bit of kind of what I've been playing. But what have you been playing this week?
Attempting to play Street Fighter 5 beta, so I won't talk any more about that. Witcher 3, still stumping on. I think I mentioned last week that I was about to go forward into what I thought was the last part of the game, and I decided, I was like, right, let's do it. So I was getting on my boat and I was going to the Isle of Mists, which I suspected was going to be a point in the game that was going to start the wrap-up sequence sort of thing. And anyway, lo and behold, as I sailed my boat towards the island, it said, alert, it said, we suggest saving your game now. Any progress after this point, some side quests will disappear and you will not be able to do them again.
Wow.
And the warning and the warning scared me, because even though part of me just wanted to get it done so that I've done it, And then I was thinking, once I've done it, I can just banter around and do what I like. Do you know what I mean? Do any side quests and just roam the countryside, which I could, But just the fact that it warned me and said it's going to take away some side quests, it made me think about it, and I sort of double took it, and I was like, oh, well, in that case... So I turned my boat round.
I'll get off this boat and I'll slowly swim to shore instead.
That's exactly what I did. I spun around, got off onto land, and thought, all right, what am I going to do now? And I just started like going through question marks and unlocking more stuff on the map. But I'm not going to be able to do every damned quest before I do the Isle of Mists, because I looked at the map and there's just littered with things to do. So what I've decided to do, it says recommended level about 22, I think, and I'm 23. I think I'm going to try and get to 24 or 25, or when I just get fed up and then just dive in. But really, well, I suppose, if I scratch all that, I'm probably going to finish it this week because Rare Replay's coming out.
Yeah, clear the decks for that.
Yeah, and I'm a bit bogged down in The Witcher. I love games like that, but it's sort of like, I felt like I can't do anything else. So, The Witcher... a bit more Drive Club.
Did you hear, just before you go to your next one, did you hear that the last piece of DLC, they're giving away these 16 pieces of DLC, the last piece of DLC, which comes out in 2 weeks' time, is a New Game Plus.
New Game Plus, yeah.
Who's going to New Game Plus Witcher 3? Looking at the calendar and what we've got coming up, Rare Replay, Gears of War, Metal Gear Solid, Lara Croft, Fallout. Who's going to New Game Plus that? Who's going to have time to play that?
Yeah, I know. I think what I will do once I've completed it is I will put it on occasionally when I'm in the mood for a stroll in the countryside, because who cares about real life countryside in the summer? Yes. Not me. I'll just close the curtains just for The Witcher 3 on.
Enjoy the sun there, because we're not getting much sun at the moment, are we? In the UK, so
exactly. And it still amazes me, and just I don't know how the spectacle of it. I say
it's fantastic. It is actually just a fantastic game. But sorry, I did disturb you. Sorry, you went on to you drive clubbing.
Oh yeah, so a bit of Drive Club for the Lost Spark Drive Club. I was trying to get a bit better at that. And yeah, I was enjoying it. It keeps annoying me because it keeps making me do races that end up at night, and I'm like, I don't want to do nighttime races. I like to be in the bright sunshine and stuff. But they're showing off the dynamic effects and what have you. Yeah, it's a good game.
But just a quick question about Drive Club. I've only got the PS Plus version, so I've got just kind of a handful of features and a handful of games. But on the full version, do you have... In Forza, what I do to learn the tracks is they have that break-in line. So as you're racing, there's a nice green line. You get to the corner and it goes red and it goes amber as you're braking correctly. I can't find an option in Drive Club to turn that on to get to know the courses. Is that available in Drive Club?
I haven't seen it as an option, but I must say I haven't sort of looked too deeply. But you do get a racing line, but it seems to be random when it appears.
Okay. Because like I said, I just thought maybe it was one of those ones where buy the full version and then we'll give you the good stuff. But
maybe I mean I have noticed, but it's not all the time. But yeah, sometimes I get this blue line appearing of how to take sort of the apex around the corner and things. But it doesn't change colour that I've noticed. But to be honest, I'm usually just too busy trying to keep my car on the damn road.
Just not spin off. Well, because that's what I like to do when I'm playing Forza. I just like to learn the tracks and just really kind of get to know them, so I know where the braking points are on those corners, and just kind of commit that to memory and then turn it off. Yeah. But yeah, I was just trying to find something similar in Drive Club and I couldn't.
No, I haven't seen it, but as I say, I haven't looked for it. I remember though in Project Gotham Racing. 3, I think it might have been, or 2, it might have been. I can't remember which Xbox. It's either 360 or Xbox One. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, it was on Xbox Live, and I was always rubbish at Xbox Live on the racing. I always got beat all the time. And then one track I decided to get platinum or something, or whatever was the highest achievement on it. And I raced it, and I raced it, and I raced it, and then finally I learned how to do it to get like the top score each time, the top kudos or whatever it was. And then I went online, and whenever that track came on, I was just way ahead, and it just proved that it was the best way to race it, because I was just miles ahead of everybody online. So it wasn't even about whether you're playing the computer or not. It's just like if you raced round that track in the correct way, you just that's the way you do it, isn't it? It was awesome, and I felt like a god.
No, absolutely. I mean, I remember I was house sharing for a while, and we had I'm sure like Project Gotham was like Dreamcast or something. We were playing Project Gotham Racing, myself and my mate, and we had one track. I think it was kind of like the changing of the guards or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
And we were just racing around, and we were shaving hundreds of a second off. And what we would do every kind of whenever someone did that, and the other person wasn't in the house, we would just leave a post-it on the TV or something like that, going, "Beat your score," you know. And it was just, and it was so cool. It was such great fun, and that's why kind of one of the reasons I love racing games and doing that sort of stuff. You know, just kind of shaving that time off your best time.
Yeah, like that Need for Speed implemented that in sort of in the game, didn't it? That sort of post-it thing where it'd say to your mate, wouldn't it? It'd say, like, why the mate had just beat your score, and it'd take a picture of you when you did it, and you could sort of pull a face, and then it'd send it to the other guy and say, like, your record just got beaten. Like, do you want to try and beat it? And you could have this sort of competition, which I thought was a great thing that they introduced. Yeah, that was. I'm sure it was Need for Speed that did that.
I think you're right. I think
Need
it was
for Speed Rivals, maybe.
Yeah.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? So yeah, a bit of Drive Club, which I'm going to play a bit more. You know, I love it. It's just a pain. I sort of like. I'm the same with Street Fighter, really. I like to learn one character on Street Fighter, just like Ryu or Ken. That's me. I haven't got the time or the inclination to learn anybody else. I sort of just want to be the master of one style. And Drive Club, because they're all these different cars and they've all got the different handling. It's sort of. I'm like, I've just got good with one, and then it makes me drive another, and I'm rubbish again. And I'm like, and then by the time I go back to the other one, I've forgotten sort of the technique. I'm not that good at adapting, you know. Once it shifts the controls around a bit, I'm like, I'm spinning all over the place, or you know, spinning out of a turn when it was okay with the last car and things like that. So yeah, Drive Club and a little bit of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, just to prepare myself for MGS5 Phantom Pain coming out. So I thought I had a duty to sort of dive in and have a look. So I've had a quick little roam about in there, and at the moment I'm just totally not used to it. I forgot, you know, it's been ages since I played Metal Gear Solid 4, and I just couldn't get my head around the controls.
Yeah.
It seems so slow. You know, that's fine. You know, the stealth part of the game, it is tactical espionage action after all. But I found it. I just couldn't remember the controls, and I was trying to learn them, and I wasn't having as much success. So I'm going to have to sort of knuckle down and try and learn how to play that game, especially as I've got MGS5 pre-ordered.
No, I definitely would. You know, because I played that game when it came out. And kind of, I mean, it's worthwhile finishing that game, that demo, because there's some really good stuff at the end. You know, there's some great cutscenes, etc. It's well worth buying that, but it's well worth kind of getting used to that control, because if you think about it, this is your training for when MGS5 comes out, and if you can master this and get used to it and kind of play this just as MGS5 comes out, you're going to be in that muscle memory.
You can hit the ground running, yeah.
Exactly, Ground Zero's running. Don't mess around with kind of going back to kind of Witcher or anything like that. Just kind of try and angle it, and this is what I'm doing. I'm going to try and angle it so I play it again just before that comes out, just so I can get there when it comes out and I'm not frustrated, because I think I, like you, when I first started playing Ground Zeroes, I struggled for a bit. You know, that first guard when you're coming down the hill, you know, I was just really struggling with that guy.
It's a lot more of a slow game, isn't it? You know, and I was so used to like Assassin's Creed and all that kind of games of that ilk that I was just sort of didn't have the discipline. I'm just like, look, just get behind the rock, automatically cling to the rock, no one's going to see me. And it's like, pew, pew, dead. Or, ring! You know? Snake!
It looks amazing, doesn't it? It looks really good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And yeah, so played a little bit. It sort of put me off because I'm doing rubbish, so I'm not going to play it, you know. So yeah, I just need to, so as I say, knuckle down and get a bit more into it. And I've loved all the other ones, so I can't see that it's going to be that I'm not going to love it. It's just that there's too many games of The Witcher's taking over my mind and all this stuff. So yeah, that's my games for the week. So what about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my advice to you would be get on that boat, finish Witcher, jump on Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, and then you will be good to go, sir. You'll be, and then you can do a bit of rare replay in the middle there. As for me, my week, I played Game of Thrones episode 5. So this was a bit different for Telltale, because normally we just get 5 episodes, but with Game of Thrones we're getting 6. So this was the penultimate Game of Thrones, and and if you watch the TV show, you know what that means. It normally means there's going to be a bit of bloodshed and some people are going to die. And I won't give any spoilers away, but it was a fantastic episode, and I can't wait for that final episode. I got quite excited because I saw that there was a tweet from Telltale that said episode 5 and 6, and I thought they were coming out together, and I was like, yes, I don't have to wait for that final episode, but I do. They're not coming out. There isn't a date for 6 yet, but 5 is fantastic. And Game of Thrones has been one of those ones where I'm really enjoying Borderlands, Tales from the Borderlands, and Game of Thrones has been a bit of a slow burner. Had a good first episode, had a good kind of mediocre second, and then it's just been building, and this one was fantastic. I played it in one sitting, as I do most of those games, and I just really enjoyed it. So it's just fantastic. Same grumbles about the engine, but I won't go there. But it's shaping up to be a real cool season finale, and I can't wait to play that.
Great, and this felt then like an enjoyable experience, and it wasn't just you didn't just feel like it was just paving the way for the big sort of showcase spectacular in episode 6.
No, there was this one point in one of the storylines, and again, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, so don't kind of turn your headphones off, but there was one point in the story where this guy, one of the characters, just starts they were having a go at me and basically said, you did this, and then you did this. And I was like, they're all my choices that I've made. The mess I'm in right now is because of all of those choices. And there was a real kind of big, I messed up moment. But, that's it. That's the consequences of my actions. And when I finished, I was like, wow, that was really good, and it really did. I mean, it's happened before in Walking Dead, where there were certain bits in Walking Dead where you had to pick a team and no one wanted to go with you because of some of the decisions you made. But this one really was a heavy consequence to my actions. But no, it didn't feel like a filler. They definitely needed 6 episodes, because there was, it's a bit like the Game of Thrones TV show, is that you kind of get to 2 to go and you just think you've got so much to end off and to finish.
So many loose ends.
Exactly. So I can't wait for the final episode of this, because it's been really good all the way through.
Excellent.
I've also been playing. I was over on the PS4 playing Journey. So I played Journey. I played it. Unlike the first time I played it on the PS3, this time I played it in 2 sittings. But it didn't take away from that experience. Loved it. I thought it just looked beautiful. I'm on a bigger TV now, and I've got the surround sound and my headphones on and all of that, and I just was lost in Journey again, and I loved it. I just thought it was fantastic. I am as always, I'm a little bit jealous of those people with really long scarves, because I always just end up having this little short thing, but obviously they're going off and finding all the other things. But
yeah, absolutely, man. I'm always seething with these guys with the longer scarves than me. I've spent ages looking for these glyphs, and then in pops some geezer, and he's got a massive scarf, as long as, well, not as long as your arms.
You get scarf envy, don't you?
Do you get scarf envy? But it was
really good. I mean, it was really good because there was like 2 guys. There was one guy who he kind of helped me get through a bit that I'd forgotten about, and I also done it. The first bit where you got the bridge and you got to build the scarves across the bridge. I helped a guy because he was just there. I kind of joined in, and he's just there, he or she are just there, just jumping around, and they were just kind of not knowing where to go. So I went over, did a little bit of a communication with them, and then kind of showed them what to do. And I just thought, this is why I love this game so much. This is why it is such a fantastic game. And I loved the bit that I love, and I took a screenshot of it on my PS4, was, at the end where it says, you were playing with, and I was playing with about 8 different people, and you don't realise, because I always think that it's the same person that you take from level to level, but it's not. It just seamlessly changes to another person on each level.
Yeah, I think you can have the same one, but it's very rare. I think people drop out, or your connection drops, or something like that. Or if they decide to hang around on a level longer than you, do you know what I mean? So it's rare to go the whole way together. I've certainly never done it. Did you, at the last bit, did you walk together and struggle together as a couple towards the last part, towards the light, or were you on your own? Because I was on my own.
No, I was on my own. We started off together, and then the other character got blown away, got blown back down, and then when I turned around, because I was waiting for them to show them kind of how to do it, they'd gone. So I guess they'd quitted, or they were just kind of fed up with it or whatever. But so I finished that final walk on my own, and it was just lovely. You know, it kind of... It's really funny because you've got this game, you've played it before, it's re-released, it's, you know, looks even better, but it still kind of just pangs at that same the same emotions, and it was just a lovely experience. It just really is just a lovely game.
Yeah, it's a thing of beauty and twinned with beauty and melancholy at the same time. I really like it. I saw a thing on Reddit, sort of when Journey was trending a lot, when it first just come out, and a guy wrote, he said, I got my girlfriend to play Journey all the way through. I watched her, and it moved her to tears when she got a PlayStation message at the end, and it showed her, it was just a picture of the message, and it said something like, "Thank you for helping me on my journey and being there during my rebirth," or something like that. And I was just like, oh wow! And I was all overwhelmed with Journey anyway when I read it, and I was like, oh, I understand.
So I played that and I kind of, you know, had that spiritual journey, and then I went over into Xbox and I played Tembo the Badass Elephant. So
what a contrast!
What a complete contrast! But it's interesting because last week we were talking about Tembo, and we were saying about how if there was a demo for this, I'd definitely try it because it looks interesting. And there was a 15-minute trial of Tembo the Badass Elephant.
Okay.
Even better than that was I also unlocked a couple of achievements as well. So while I'm playing this free 15-minute trial, I unlocked a couple of Tembo achievements as well. So it's kind of one of those things where luckily I'm not too kind of OCD about my achievements, because otherwise that would make me kind of, you know, download it and try and complete them. But so I got a 15-minute trial, so similar to those Xbox preview games.
So this wasn't an Xbox preview though, was it? It was
no, it wasn't an Xbox preview. But if you go to Tembo in the store, you've got buy now or you've got free trial. And then you click on free trial, it downloads it, and then off you go. And I played about 2 or 3 levels of it. And it's a great game. I was enjoying it. Haven't got time for it now. And I just, you know, enjoyed it, thought thanks, and then just removed it off my hard drive. But it was very good, you know, and if I ever am stuck and I'm there in, you know, next year or the year after that, you know, it's definitely one of those games that I'll go, do you know what, I might play that. Or, you know, if it came out for free, I would just keep it on my hard drive. But at the moment, I haven't got time for it. But it's a really good game. Looks fantastic. The kind of 2D Sonic-esque kind of jumping around was just fantastic. The character of the elephant, the Tembo, the Badass Elephant, is fantastic. Really kind of well realised, and I did like some of the features and some of the moves. It was clicking, but I just thought, do you know what? The rare replays coming out next week, and I'm still playing other games. I just haven't got time for this. But if it would have been another time, I would have definitely have downloaded and just continued playing.
Yeah, it's nice to see a new IP like that, though. You know, a sort of new slapstick character, and an attempt at that in a platformer. So I sort of almost want to buy it just to show support at that. I didn't know there was a 15-minute trial. So that's worth hopping on and having a look.
Yeah, check it out, because you might like it. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of jumping, a lot of kind of, it does feel a little bit like Sonic. You know, there were some levels where you kind of kept that momentum going and you were jumping around. And I, you know, like I say, if this would have been maybe this time last year when I was just looking at my console going, what can I play, I would have downloaded it in a heartbeat after that trial. But at the moment, I've got so many games that I could be playing, and which leads me on the next one. I mean, it's quite interesting. They had the Halo Championship over the weekend, and I just happened on Saturday night, just kind of fire up Twitch, I think on my iPad, and I just had a look, and I just watched a bit of the Halo Championship. Never been interested in anything like that, but I saw a tweet, and I just thought, well, I'll click on it and see what's happening, and it kind of got me into that Halo vibe. So Sunday afternoon, when it was all raining and it was all horrible, I just kind of cocooned myself down in the movie room, and I played some Halo Master Chief Edition. I played some of the remastered multiplayer maps. Really enjoyed it, actually. I'm never really kind of pushing that multiplayer. I used to back in kind of maybe Halo 2 or Halo 3. But I really enjoyed playing the remastered maps, so that was the only playlist I was playing, and they look really good. I mean, I've seen them before and played them before, but I was just looking at them and just thought, if this is what Halo 5 is going to look like, or if Halo 5 is going to look better than this, we're really in for a treat come November.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Yeah, definitely.
But that was my little bit of a multiplayer fix. Got some achievements, took out some people that had taken out some devs, 343 devs. So got that achievement, which I quite liked. It was just a nice, it was a couple of hours while I was cooking a roast. So I just kind of exit out a game, played one game, they went back, did the potatoes, come back, and I was just like, and it was just fantastic. So it was really cool. And then the last game that I've been playing, I'm back playing Arkham Knight. I can't stay away from it, Darren. I was looking at my dashboard. I was just about to go into Witcher 3, and I just said to myself, I'm missing Arkham Knight. I want to play Arkham Knight, so why not play it? It's like, so I went back in, and I'm doing the story modes. So I'm doing, or not story mode, sorry, I'm doing the side missions. And I'm having a blast. I'm just jumping all over Gotham, doing different side missions, ticking them off, and I'm really enjoying it. And I just think, I don't know, I'm struggling to get back into Witcher. No for Witcher, it's mine, but I'm really enjoying Batman. So if you enjoy something that much, you might as well just continue playing it, mightn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no good playing something that you don't really want to play just because you feel obligated to for whatever reason, just because it's new. It's like, play the game you love.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess in my mind is, we've been talking about it a lot, but, Rare Replay's coming out in a matter of a week's time.
It's not the time to dive into Witcher again, is it? Because we're just going to be having this, you'll get up to level 5 again, and then
I'm just going to just rinse and repeat. I'm just going to do it all over again, where I just kind of, like I say, get to level 5, and then I'll just have to start it again. So I'm enjoying it. There's a side mission called Occupation Gotham, where you've got lots of kind of towers or rooftops have been taken over by a certain mob, and you have to just go in and take them out. I'm just really enjoying it. It's very kind of, I'm Batman moment. I'm playing in the anime outfit and just mixing that up, and I'm just having a blast with it. I'm just really enjoying it. I just thought, if I'm enjoying myself that much, I'll just continue.
Yeah, good for you, man. You don't owe The Witcher anything.
Exactly. I've given you my money, but I'm just not playing.
You've shown your support. CD Projekt Red aren't really that bothered now.
No, they've got my cash. They don't care. It's just, I'm just the one who's frivolous. And on that frivolous note, we might as well start the news section. And in this week's news section, we talk about a mega collection that has over 700 hours of gameplay. I think you know which collection that is. We talk Windows 10, a little bit more of that, and we also discuss the free games that are coming out this month. First up on the news section, it's with me, and it's that China has officially ended the ban on video games, on video consoles. So I think they teased it back in 2013 that they were going to do this, but they finally scrapped this 15-year ban on video game consoles. So this is just huge. I mean, for the likes of Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, this must just be a just ginormous market opening. With China having, 50%, 60% of the Earth's population, just a small percentage of those, if they start playing games and start picking up consoles, then it could change the landscape of that, of the console race, couldn't it?
Yeah, what an unbelievable opportunity for the console platform guys here. I mean, I remember the last thing I heard about this before they sort of like opened the floodgates, if you like, was that Microsoft were making inroads with them lifting the ban just for Xbox One. Do you remember that?
I do. I mean, it's quite interesting you're saying that Microsoft making inroads. Phil Spencer had tweeted yesterday or the day before that he's in China at the moment. So he's on his way to Gamescom. He's going from Seattle to Cologne via China.
Tell you something. It sounds glamorous, but I wouldn't want to be doing it.
No. And he's in China now, and it is quite interesting because I think the consoles were banned in China in 2000, and it was because they thought that 3D games had a negative effect, both mental and physical, on the development of children. So they just said, games are bad, can't play them, we're banning them. And then it's taken the 15 years to lift that ban. But now all of the manufacturers are able to, they can build and distribute consoles in China.
Yeah, the Great China Console Race. That would make a nice documentary in the future.
It really will. I mean, like I say, if I don't know which way they would go. I mean, is it that you would expect, like I say, Microsoft are kind of seeing those doors open and then they're sticking their foot in it quite quickly. Do you think China would go Xbox One?
Maybe, and I'll tell you why I think it, because, they've still got the gamers, the Chinese guys, they didn't have the consoles, but they're allowed PCs. So they've been gaming on PC for the last decade. So does that give Microsoft a head start, do you think?
Yeah, maybe people are used to seeing that logo. I know, because China's had they have a whole wealth of knockoff consoles.
Yeah, I bet they've got fake Xboxes and fake PS4s, or whatever, coming out their ears.
Well, there was things like Playbox, wasn't there? It was like Playbox 720 or something like that could play both Xbox and PlayStation games.
And every other console from the last 10 years, and it's only costs like €2.
Yes, but it'll be interesting because I know when this first, I think it was like 2013 when they first started talking about it, they was saying it would be a lot of free-to-play games because the Chinese are not used to spending a lot of money on consoles. But now that the whole, I mean, China's changing. It definitely, the biggest grossing movie of last year was Transformers, worldwide, and terrible movie. I enjoyed it, but I was hyper on Skittles. And I came out of the movie. Well, my wife and I, we went to see it in IMAX, IMAX 3D. Went to see it, and I came out, and I've never been so hyper after a movie. I was like, I love that movie, like this. And my wife's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, let's drive home. And she's like, no, we're going to calm you down for a moment. It was a real kind of like a play on your senses, but half of that film is set in China.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And there's lots of kind of Chinese money. We've seen it with like Marvel movies as well. Marvel movies have had, I think it was Iron Man 3 that had some Chinese scenes specifically for that country. So maybe what we might see is games doing the same thing. Yeah,
maybe. I mean, China, I think, has got the biggest sort of grey market, sort of knockoff black market kind of thing, if you like, if that's the right phrasing, of all these grey imports and just sort of like you say with his Playbox and what have you, just sort of hardware that's just been made for them than anywhere else in the world. So they've got access to really cheap hardware that, from what I've seen, can do what the main players can do. Like, have you ever seen, like, when iPhones are bringing out Apple are bringing out a new iPhone? I've seen like the Chinese equivalent, and it's sort of out straight away, and it costs like next to nothing. But you look at the UI, and it seems pretty much the same. I've only seen pictures on the internet, never seen a video of it. So it's as if they've got access to whatever they want anyway, for a lot cheaper. But maybe that's just sort of the hidden side, the sort of underground people that would do that, and you've got your sort of upstanding citizens that would get an official console. But I don't
are they doing that? Are they doing that because they can't buy it officially? So they're buying these kind of black market knockoffs because they can't buy it official.
Yeah. They could well be. And what would it be that influenced the direction? Phil Spencer's visit can't hurt. But
yes.
I don't know. I would go where the games are. I mean, you've got territories that like different sorts of games, haven't you? Japan have always liked their sort of social RPGs, Monster Hunter sort of thing, and collecting games like Pokemon, and then they've sort of almost unifiedly jumped onto the mobile games market now. And what what is it that floats China's boat? I'm sure that the big guys have got their researchers finding that out. I don't know. I've never really seen an article on that. What is it? What's their gaming tastes?
Well, I think it's so unknown, though, isn't it? Because it has been banned for 15 years, and because you can never really tell, because it's all, like you say, it's all black market, it's all kind of pirated games. There's not going to be any way of tracking those.
Seeing the emergent trends and things like that.
Exactly. So it's very fresh. I mean, it would be really interesting to see. I mean, Microsoft have. They've lost in Japan. No matter how much money they put in, no matter how much they time, they're probably selling one Xbox One a month in Japan, which is sad, but it's a fact.
That's not far from the reality. It's almost a fact.
Yeah, so maybe they're just saying, right, we'll take that money that we was going to spend in Japan, we'll market China, we'll just blanket them with Xbox. I mean, all they have to do is show them Viva Pinata. They're just in. Like everything, straight. 1 billion downloads.
Damn straight. That's all they need to do. Even if they sort of like could follow the subsidising model and just just sell the Xboxes for so cheap. But if you get one in every house, and then the games will bring home the bacon, if you like.
Absolutely, and it will be. I'm going to watch this kind of with interest because, like you say, you joked kind of like a movie of this, but I'm hoping that we do get to find out maybe some of the background and some of the things that took us to this decision of China on finally scrapping this 15-year ban.
Yeah, the scrapping of it, and then the big boys sort of at the starting line now. Waiting for the starter pistol to get in there. Start the marketing and start the distribution.
I mean, will we even see something that's similar? I mean, we have E3, we've got Gamescom, we've got the Tokyo Game Show. In a couple of years' time, will we start seeing a Chinese game show?
Yeah. Shanghai Game Show or something.
Absolutely. Hope not, because I can't say that properly. But will we see a Shanghai Game Show?
I'll be there to help you out, mate.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Cheers.
But imagine how massive that would be.
Yeah,
it'd be just stupidly massive. It'd be amazing. So I think that it can only be a good thing. But what I said about the Xbox before, I thought there was an exclusive deal for Microsoft to sort of get consoles out there. So they must be gutted with this because this is. So they're like, oh yeah, this is a nice one. We've got this deal with China, just us. So it's a one-horse race. All of a sudden, everybody's allowed to run.
Yeah. No, it's definitely all companies. So, it'd be a very interesting one. Like I say, Phil Spencer, he kind of tweeted when he was on his way. Haven't heard from him since. Hope you're okay, Phil. Haven't heard from him since. But like I say, he is deep in China right now.
Wow. Well, we'll see how he does when he emerges at Gamescom. Maybe you'll bump into him.
Yes. Oh, that would be so awesome. Anyway, right. Next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, that's the little item that Bethesda can't make any more Fallout 4 collector's editions.
Rub it in, why don't you?
I know, I'm sorry, mate. But yeah, so I'm sure everybody's aware that with Fallout 4, Bethesda brought out a collection, a special edition, that included a real-life Pip-boy that you wore on your wrist, and you could insert your smartphone of choice, as long as it wasn't as big as an iPhone 6 or equivalent, into it, and that would run an app that they're going to bring out, which is a Pip-boy app, and you can put it in there, wear it on your wrist, and use it. How good is that while the game's running? And yeah, so there was huge demand on it. We talked about it before. It broke Game the other week when Game got an extra little pocket of them to sell, and the website broke down with all the demand. And yeah, we both tried, didn't we, Antony? But I was successful. Unfortunately, you just missed out because your work called and pulled you off the scent, didn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got one on pre-order. Though I could sell my receipt for £300, as they seem to be going on eBay. It's £99 to buy it if you can get hold of it. But yeah, they literally can't make any more. So loads of people wanted them. They say that they've made more of these than probably. This is Bethesda. They say they've made more of these Pip-boys than they wanted to. Really, they wanted it to be a smaller amount that they were distributing, but because of demand, they wanted to satisfy the demand, so they made more. But they say that they reached a point where they'd go back to the factories, and the guys at the factory would be like, just, sorry, this is it. This is as long as we can run the lines, and it's as many of them as we can make. And that was Bethesda's Pete Hines commenting that to GameSpot. And then they said that they'd go back to the factory and say, look, demand for this is insane. We've got to make more. And they'd move other projects off, or they'd shift stuff to other factories, and it just came to them saying to us, look, this is the final answer. Sorry, we can't make any more for you. There's too much. So there was too much work being held up from other, manufacturers that wanted things making for other guys, that they were just like, look, it's got to stop. We can't make any more. It doesn't matter how insane the demand is. That's the line. So there won't be any more made. But they did. I mean, they did say that there wasn't going to be any more anyway. They said, this is it when it was released. But this is sort of just an extra piece of news. I think that they bled the factory dry of them. So they did try their best to get every single, really sort of scrape the bottom of the barrel and get every single Pip-Boy they could out of there. But in the end, the factory just said, no, we can't do it anymore. We're sorry, we're sick of it.
There's some sweatshop somewhere that's just like, we're working around the clock, we can't do any more, we just can't do it. Even though Tony needs his, we can't do it.
Yeah, if only they gave us the address of the factory, we could maybe do a strongly worded letter on your behalf.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
could ask
Dear sweatshop, I really want one.
yeah. So there you go. It's going to be very difficult to get one. And in light of that news story, I did have a look on eBay, as I say, and I think I saw one on Buy It Now for £300.
Wow.
Wow. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. And that actually showed a picture of one. That was just a stock picture. But I've seen other people selling them, and they're just selling the pre-order receipt. And it's just got a picture of the receipt from Game. And it's saying, yeah, give me £200 or whatever. But I'm not going to sell mine. I'm going to keep it. But it does make me think, even though I was honourable, did I do the right thing when I had 3 in my basket? Because Game's website was so messed up, and you kept having to click to order them. And when I got to the point of checkout, I had 3 in my basket. But it was like I had the angel and the devil on my shoulders, and when the devil was going, go on, buy them all, and the angel was like, no, you can't do that, be honourable. And I did the honourable thing, and I thought, no, I moaned about this before, people just buying stuff to sell it on. It's not right with people that really want it. So I gave them back, but maybe I should have just got 2 and given you one.
Yes, absolutely. Should have thought of the Spark brother.
Sorry about that, mate.
Who's now just going to be... do you know what I'm going to do, right? When it comes out, I'm going to get my iPhone 6 and I'm going to strap it to my wrist with some sticky tape, and I haven't got any hairs on my arms anyway, so it doesn't matter, and I'm just going to pretend I've got a Pip-Boy. The wife will come down to the movie room and I'm just kind of got this sellotaped iPhone onto my arm.
You can fashion one with some cardboard, a bit like Google Cardboard, but it's like Pip-Boy cardboard.
I'm going to buy a 3D printer. I'm going to get the schematics. I'm going to make my own.
Yeah, that's all you need. I wonder what will happen in the future when maybe your special edition will just come with a code or like a knitting pattern equivalent for a 3D printer, and you'll get that really technical pattern, and you'll just say, okay, and your 3D printer will print you your Pip-Boy bobblehead or whatever it might be.
Wow, that would be incredible. But I do like the idea of a knitted Pip-Boy. Maybe I can have a chat with one of my friends who does some knitting. See if they can knit me one.
Yeah. Or knitted. It'd be a lot more comfy. This plastic thing doesn't look comfy at all. So
then mine will be a special edition. It will be a special edition crocheted Pip-Boy.
It will, and it'll be in special edition in so many ways. And what you could do is get this person to sort of maybe mark it nice knitted sleeves to relieve the stress from the people that don't have a knitted Pip-Boy, so that they can wear it underneath the Pip-Boy to give their arm just that little bit of comfort that we all need.
Absolutely. Superb. Right, the next piece of news. Interesting one, because last week I was saying that Phil Spencer, my old mate Phil, was talking about keyboard and mouse compatibility with not being too far away for Xbox One. Straight after that, Sony confirmed that they have officially licensed a peripheral that lets you use a keyboard and mouse. This is a thing called a Tactical Assault Commander 4, or TAC4 to its friends. And what it is, it's a mouse, but then it's like half a keyboard. Think of like the number pad on your keyboard, a bit like that, but with all the PlayStation buttons on it. And this will be compatible with a PlayStation 4. So it's coming out in October. There's a link to Amazon. You can pre-order it now. So that just kind of blows my mind that they were going to have the keyboard and mouse. I've never been a PC gamer. I've always been a console gamer. So I'm not kind of too au fait with the whole kind of mouse and keyboard. But I'm just thinking, you've got Battlefront coming out. You've got Call of Duty coming out. If people get this, that'll give them an edge in that all-important kind of first-person accuracy when they're playing.
Yeah, if the frame rate of the game if the frame rate essentially of the game can keep up with the response time needed, then they'll have the edge, and it'll be hugely unfair because you can't compete against keyboard and mouse with a joypad. You just can't do it.
Absolutely. It's a nice looking piece of kit. It's got like a nice chunky buttons. Like I say, it does look like kind of half a keyboard and a mouse. Has lots of different presets and things like that. But it'd be interesting to see, if you get this, and obviously, as I was saying last week, Phil was saying that the keyboard and mouse is not too far away from Xbox. So that's it's a bit of an interesting one. So I just thought I'd mention it. So if you are kind of first person shoot 'em up and you do like your keyboard and mouse, maybe you've come from PC to PlayStation 4, then check this out. Like I say, it's called a Tactical Assault Commander 4, and it's going to be available from UK on Amazon UK soon.
Yeah, I like the idea of it, but this is my thought. Okay, it might give them the edge, but how many people? Only if they were playing at a desk. How many people have you ever known that have got their PS4 set up on like a computer desk? I don't know anyone. If it's in the bedroom, so they'll be sitting on the bed or something, or on the couch. It's always on the couch or on the bed or something. I've never really seen anyone at a desk like you would be at a PC and a chair with a desk in front of you that would accommodate a keyboard and a mouse, or even this cut down version of the keyboard and mouse so well. And if you're not doing that, I've tried it because I used to play Half-Life 2. Well, I played it all on PC at a computer desk, but then I got TV out and I was like, oh wow, I could play this on my TV, so I did it. But it was awkward as hell trying to balance the keyboard on my left knee and use the mouse on the arm of the chair, so that I'd sit on the chair with the right arm next to me, and then I put a book on it, and then I'd have another book, say, on my knee to sort of balance the keyboard. I suppose if you get some kind of little breakfast tray-like thing, on wheels that you can put over your knee, it might work. But it seems like, I don't know. It seems a bit like, to go through all that hassle, you may as well just play on the PC, do you know what I mean? But we'll see what happens with it. It's certainly good that they're doing it, so we'll see. But that's all I'm saying. It would give them the edge if they were playing the PS4 in sort of the same setup as a PC. And then what's to stop them having the PC?
Yeah, absolutely. What I didn't say was it is about £89. I think they said on the website. I think I got that from Verge, and the Verge, and they said it's about £89. So it is quite, it's quite expensive. Obviously, not as expensive as the new sexy Pro controller that's coming out for Xbox One. But I just thought it was quite an interesting thing that maybe both companies are looking that way.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I with all these, when I cast a doubt on something, I'd like to be proved wrong, because then it means it's a success, and it means that I'll be interested in it. But I think it'll go the same way as the PlayStation Power Glove, which is not upwards.
Yeah, absolutely. But and you're quite right there. If you're going through all of that. If you're going through all that trouble, all that rigmarole of setting up that and having a PC or a screen on your desk and your PlayStation next to you, you might as well just buy it on PC and just play it on PC.
Yeah, why not? So, but we'll see what happens. It's just
absolutely.
We'll see what happens, won't we? My next item is about Dragon Quest XI, and it's been announced and it's been confirmed as Nintendo NX's first game, or at least it's the first game to be confirmed or announced for the Nintendo NX, which I think was a bit of a mistake on behalf of Square Enix when they said that. So it's an RPG type game, the Dragon Quest games. I don't know if you've ever played any of them. I played Dragon Quest VIII, which is Journey of the Cursed King, I think it was called, and I'm pretty sure that was either on PS2 or Dreamcast. Can't remember which it was, but it's typical.
So a while ago, then, I guess.
Yeah,
those two. Yeah,
it was a while ago, and that's why the sort of title sort of escapes me a little bit. But it looked really beautiful, nice cartoon, cel shaded sort of graphics, great adventure. I like my RPGs. I had turn-based battle, which a lot of people don't like, but I like that too because, well, I sort of was weaned onto RPGs by Final Fantasy VII, so I know a lot of people don't like random encounters and turn-based combat, but I don't mind either, and it's got them both, and I really enjoyed that game. So yeah, it's traditionally a JRPG, but it's quite niche in the West. But basically, Square Enix announced the next game, which is going to be this one, and they said that there's got at least 2 separate titles planned for PS4, 3DS, and the NX. It's very surprising that they should mention the NX because Nintendo themselves aren't going to talk about the NX until sort of they deem the time is right, and you wouldn't think that it would be Square Enix's place to sort of blow their cover there, would you, really? Since then, there's been an update, and Square Enix is now claiming that the Nintendo NX versions of Dragon Quest 10 and 11 are only under consideration. So that wasn't what they said in the initial announcement, but now they've done this big turnaround and they said it's just under consideration. So I think somebody's had their knuckles wrapped from Nintendo.
Absolutely, they've definitely had a bit of a tap, haven't they? I mean, it's quite interesting because I saw that screenshot. I've never played a Dragon Quest game, but I saw that screenshot. It looked lovely, looked very nice, and it also got me a little bit excited when I saw Nintendo NX kind of actually down on a piece of paper through my iPhone, but when I actually saw it kind of written down, I got quite excited, thinking that we're actually going to get a new Nintendo console, maybe a decent one as well, because if it's PlayStation 4 and an X, and then it's hoping that it's going to be as powerful, if not more powerful, than the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, well, it should be, shouldn't it? Just by the law of diminishing returns, or Moore's law, I should say, by Moore's law, of everything getting sort of double the power and half the price, or whatever it is, as every year goes by, then the NX should be a really nice, powerful console, and maybe we'll have a resurgence of sort of the jaw drop that we got with the N64. That's what I hope, to see something that's going to reach the expectation that I had for this generation prior to the announcements of the Xbox One and the PS4, because as great as they are, and we've had some great gaming experiences, they didn't really they didn't satisfy me. They didn't hit that spot like I expected. I always, and this is the thing about the diminishing returns thing, is that I always want it to be like when the PlayStation came out, it was like jaw-dropping. There was nothing that could do that. You'd not seen it before. N64 Mario, that was amazing. That hit the news when games were not on the news back then. I remember I was a kid and I saw it on Newsround. It's like Mario's on the news. This is amazing.
I mean, even people who weren't into games then, when I showed it to them when it first came out, it blew them away, because you were used to just kind of running from left to right, and then suddenly you have this 3D world that was by then said it just looked beautiful. When you're running around that opening garden with the castle there, that blew a lot of people away.
Yeah, it did.
When you first showed it.
Yeah, it absolutely did, and I just thought that was that was a moment. That was a moment in games, and there were other moments like with PlayStation Dreamcast when I first saw Soul Calibur. I couldn't believe it. And there was other games like Unreal, when Unreal came out, and then anyway, I won't going to list all the games that made my jaw drop, but what I'm getting at is my jaw drops less and less as time goes on, and we become. It's a shame if it's complacency. You could say it's complacency on one hand, that we're like, oh yeah, we've seen it all before, because there's a lot of work that goes into all these games. You can't take away from that. But it's just that as a consumer, as a gamer, you always want sort of the next big thing, and we've kind of arrived at it. For me, the dreams that I had of gaming when I was little, when I used to play Commando or Archon or whatever it is on my Commodore 64, things like that, Way the Exploding Fist or Kung Fu Master, and conversions of the arcade ports, and that was the best you got. We've sort of arrived there. You play experiences like Bloodborne and The Witcher, and it's like, and there's adverts on the TV. It's kind of, you've got what you wish for, and they do say, be careful what you wish for, because I think every gamer that's of a certain age and has evolved and grown up with it has got everything they wish for, but we've also got too much that we wish for, because everybody's got a lot. This is what we're all about, is having a positive slant on games, because it has got very toxic, and it's also got so big and massive an industry, which is what we all wished for, that you got this sort of vocal minority that the naysayers and the haters have been bred out of it as well. So out of what we all wanted, there's some negativity there too. But I digress. But yeah,
You just went so far left on that point.
What was I on about? I think I was talking about playing the Spectrum. No, I don't know.
Yeah. So your Dragon Quest, but no, I totally agree with you on that. And it's just, and for me, if the NX. I want the NX to just kind of, when they first show that Mario game or Luigi or whatever they do, I want my jaw just to drop like I did, and exactly what you're saying, and if it doesn't, I will just grumpily pre-order that console, because I'm still going to get it.
There's no question that we're going to get it.
Yeah, it's like, it's the power of the Wii. I'm like, I don't care, I'll just get it, but I'll be angry while I'm doing it. But, I'm still going to buy it, but I love Nintendo. I love Nintendo to bits. And when I was playing Mario Kart last year or this year, that looked amazing. And I was like, this is the Mario Kart I've always wanted. In my head, the ultimate Mario game is Mario 64 done by Pixar. And if you could squish those two things together and give me a Mario game, I'm happy. Nintendo have just made me happy, and that's what I've always wanted. As much as I enjoy Super Mario World, and as much as I enjoy the one that came out at Christmas, Super Mario, or maybe last Christmas, Super Mario 3D World. As much as I enjoy that, I want Mario 64 too. That's what I want. I don't need a gimmick like Mario Sunshine. I don't need the controller wibbling around like Mario Galaxy. I just want a Mario 64 too. And that's what I want. And if I have to play Mario World 1, Level 1 again, I'm going to scream, and that's the reason why I'm not buying Mario Maker. I toyed with it. I thought, well, that's quite an interesting concept. Loved that little 8-bit amiibo. I thought, I'm going to buy it, and I hovered over it, but I didn't. I just thought, no, I'm done. I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to kind of fall into your hands, Nintendo. I'm just going to wait for you to give me a proper Mario game.
Yeah. I was saying this the other day about Nintendo, that I love Nintendo. And there's loads of games I could mention that I love, but the last, decade or so, it's as if it's like, come on, Nintendo, this is too long riding on the coattails of just reiterating. We moan about remasters and remakes and iterations of games like Call of Duty 1, 2, 3. It's always the same old stuff, isn't it? They bring out a new console, and you're going to get a Mario game, and you're going to get a Donkey Kong game now, and you're going to get a Mario Kart game. And I just thought, let's just look at this sort of objectively for a minute. And they are good games, but like looking at the Wii U, you've only got about 5 games worth getting. All right, you might have 10, I don't know, but not that many. And most of them are rehashes of the same old idea. It's as if like they obviously they've got their icons there, and they've got their games, and and Miyamoto is amazing, and he's a fantastic designer, and he makes some amazing games. And the Mario games, Galaxy and Galaxy 2, and 3D Mario World, I really love. But it's kind of give them some more freedom to create. Pikmin was a good game, but I didn't love it as much as Mario. But at least that showed. I think that was the last sort of innovation that I saw from them that I can think of offhand. And these guys they were a bit like Apple in the day. They have the hardware and the content themselves. It was all lumped together. It's a Nintendo console. They provide the hardware. They provide the software as well. And you can guarantee that a Nintendo game is going to be damn good. And Nintendo games are damn good. But it's just that there are not that many of them. And the ones that they've got are kind of getting a bit stale, I think. I don't know, bring out, sort of like you said, a Pixar version of Paper Mario on the NX. That would be pretty cool. It'd still be a rehash. Bring out something new is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite interesting because when you listen to both of us, we always start the thing with, I love Nintendo, and it's like we're in a bad relationship, it's just like, I love Nintendo, but, the games are amazing, but, and it's really interesting to hear, that we're just desperate for Nintendo to wow us again, because we love them, because at the core we love them, and they make fantastic games, and like I said, Mario Kart 8 was a step in the right direction for me, because you got some of the old tracks, but they looked incredible. They looked amazing, and I've said time and time again, call me fickle, but I love graphics. I love things looking I'm a visual guy, and that's what I like to see. And gameplay is obviously paramount, but for Mario Kart, it just looked amazing. There were times when I was playing it, on single player or even kind of split screen. I was just like, this is amazing. This just looks incredible, and I was happy, and I want that, and I'm desperate for a Mario game, and I want one to tax me, but I don't want, like I say, the Mario 3D World that I got for the Wii U. There were some times you had to pick up the gamepad, you had to do some stuff. I didn't really mind those gimmicks, but at the same time, it wasn't the Super Mario 64 that I want, and I might never get it. But if I don't get it, just wow me with something.
Yeah, absolutely. And is it that it's sort of rose-tinted glasses because we grew up with Nintendo, because that was one of the earliest consoles that we had, and that's still around because Sega aren't around anymore, not as a console maker. Would Microsoft or Sony get away with doing what Nintendo have done in terms of the games that Nintendo have provided us?
But not being funny, I mean, if you look at, and I can't wait to play every single one of them, but if you look at Xbox's full lineup, we've got Gears of War, which is just a rehash of Gears of War. We've got Forza 6, we've got Halo 5. All of these games, it's tentpole franchises, but they're not changing the formula that much. They're making them look better, because. And I'm happy. I want new IPs. I love new IPs. I'm very interested next week to hopefully see Scalebound at Gamescom. I want to find Crackdown. Love that. And I love new IPs. I love this kind of new. I love that developers are given the freedom to try something new, but at the same time, I almost like those franchises. Obviously some of them they do kind of run them into the ground and get a bit stale, but I think you have to be clever here and know when to maybe kind of give it a couple of years. Like Halo, it's been a couple of years since we had Halo 4, so I'm ready for another Halo, and I'm quite excited about that. Next year, I'm going to be really, really excited for Gears of War, and I can't wait to play Gears of War 4. But that's going to be, a good kind of couple of years if you're not counting this the remake that we're going to get this year, until I get kind of a brand new Gears of War experience. So, and I just think Nintendo need to realise what they've got. I'd love to play a Wii U NX version of Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah,
I love that game. On the 3DS, it was a really good game. I enjoy playing that, but I'd love to play that on the big screen. I saw someone tweeted the other day that they saw in the wild a Luigi's Mansion arcade cabinet, and I was just like, God, if that was in London, I would go and find that. And I want something like that at home. I don't want a big Hoover strapped to my back and kind of hoovering the screen, but I would love to see because that game's fantastic. It always has really good lighting. Luigi always makes me laugh. And there's stuff that I would love them to do, and if I ever sat down, if they kind of had a thing where they invited all of their fans and they said, like a town hall kind of thing, like, what do you want? They were the type of things that I would list, as well as changing and thinking up new ideas and giving Miyamoto time. But they could give Miyamoto time to do that whilst they bring out these, and have him just kind of going, okay, we're doing that one, we're doing that. He's an executive producer on those two, but he's also coming up with his own new take on something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that in a way Nintendo just need to supply the demand, find out what the people want. But it's impossible to predict what Nintendo are going to do. Historically, you've never known what they're going to do. They're very secretive. They don't respond to any sort of pressure. I don't think they're rich enough to not bother with. They don't really enter into it. So it's very difficult to find out or predict, as I say, what they're going to do. And if Nintendo just would supply the demand, then they'd be home free. The Wii U can't have helped. I mean, they made a vast amount on the Wii. And there were some quality games on the Wii. Then it seemed to just nosedive into a shovelware bloody wasteland. But there were some classic games on the Wii. I love my Wii console. The Wii U's been a bit of a desert as far as I'm concerned. Maybe it's a bit of a mistake. I read something where one of the Nintendo guys was saying, unfortunately, they'd already sort of like got that idea hard, set and manufactured just as Multi-Touch came out. And there was no way they could change it. So it sort of made the tablet not that great straight away. The controller, it sort of made it sort of not archaic or whatever, but certainly just wasn't keeping up with, say, your average tablet straight out of the box, which didn't give it that good. And the marketing was bad on it and everything else. But they just supply demand. Find out what the demand is. The Nintendo fans, they're a vocal bunch. It's not like everybody's hiding what they want. And we're all praying that this NX will be like it. But if they supply the demand anything like they supply the Amiibos, then it's not going to be great. But we'll see. Well,
no.
we just can't tell. We don't know. Presumably, you could say from this announcement that they are making Dragon Quest for the NX. If they're going to make an RPG on it of that ilk and it's got a reputation, then I would hope that it's going to be a good system, and this would be a bit of a showcase for it. Square. The Dragon Quest 8 that I played was on PS2, and it looked phenomenal back then. So it's a game that's going to be a game that they can show off the graphical prowess of a machine with. So let's hope that it is that and not some... it could just be a console that allows you to stream paid apps from there.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know until, I guess, we're not going to know until next year, are we now? I don't think they're going to allow us, they're not going to talk about it at Tokyo Game Show, so it's going to be, I want it to be, another physical console. I still think physical consoles, a lot of people thought that Xbox One and PS4 would be the last physical console, but I think we're going to get another one after this. I think we're not quite there yet. And what I would love from NX is to be a Nintendo controller, a Nintendo machine with pro controllers, because that's what I did when I bought my Wii U. I just bought 2 pro controllers, never really used that gamepad. It's not comfortable to use. I only use it when I'm forced to use it from a game. And I want that Zelda game to maybe be a launch title and blow me away. I mean, it's quite interesting because Wii U came out in 2012? I think it was 2012 it came out.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
About 3 years, and they've just this week reached 10 million units.
Wow. So, it's not... And this is because they haven't had the game support there. And the game support primarily wasn't there because it didn't have the power to compete or to develop on to make to have parity with the other consoles. Why would you get it? Why would you get the game on the Wii U and it's not as good as one of the competitors? The thing about the Wii U is all about the first party, the Nintendo games but really with the controller being like that was its USP, making that the big thing like the Wiimote. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Good on them for trying. You see, I love that, and I respect them for the innovation and the fact that they brought out this different thing. Because everybody, we say, oh, it's all the same, and they do. They strive to bring out something different. And I would love the NX if it isn't a graphical powerhouse, though I hope it is as well as what I hope, which is that it's got something surprising, something unpredictable with it, something that we haven't thought of. Like the Wii. It came out, it was so left field. It's like, wow, look at this, it's great. Even your grand can have a go, but you can play good games on it as well. And imagine something as great as that, twinned with spending some money on decent hardware. But who knows? Like you say, who knows? That's my hope anyway. Something great with give me a peripheral that I'm going to love as well.
Absolutely. Right, should we move on? And
then Sorry about that.
We'll have a whole episode about Nintendo, I think, when Tokyo Game Show. So let's go on to the next piece of news, and that's with you, Darren.
Yes, so this is just a brief thing, really, and I'll put a link at the bottom of the podcast, but there's a YouTube video that Major Nelson has put out there. He's chatting to the head of the Xbox sort of infrastructure department. He's the guy that sorts out Xbox Live and does all this stuff in the background, and he's been working on all the Xbox app as well with Windows 10, and it's a video that just talks about the features of Xbox One crossing over with Windows 10 and just showing you how to use it. If you've got a Windows 10, you can have a look, you can see how you connect and all the different things that I briefly talked about earlier when I said that I upgraded to Windows 10, but Major Nelson goes through them. And you can see it there, and it shows the screenshots and the running video of the streaming and all that sort of thing. So well worth a look. And as I say, I'll put the link to that video at the bottom of the podcast.
Fantastic, excellent stuff. Yeah, we'll make sure that link is there. And then the next one is kind of a bit what we teased right at the top of the news section, which was that 700 hours of gameplay. Give it to me, Darren. Give it to me.
Yeah. So, what could it be? What game could it be coming up with 700? It's not the Witcher 4.
It probably is with New Game Plus.
It's the new quest for Witcher 4. It's another free DLC.
It's the DLC.
They're never going to let us play another game. I'll tell you something though, it's a good argument for not getting, for stopping the pre-owned market, because you never get to complete the game to sell your disc on.
No.
But yeah, this is obviously Rare Replays, I'm sure you've guessed. Rare went over to guest the Expert Zone Twitch stream, where they revealed some interesting information about their Rare Replay game. And they said that because a lot of the games that are on the disc or in the package come from the older days of gaming, and they're talking, when me and Antony were wee whippersnappers, before HD TVs and that.
Before your TV was a funny shape. This used to be a square one.
Yeah, absolutely. When it had a concave glass at the front, or a remote control with a wire attaching it to the TV. Oh, crikey, I'm old. So they were looking at these games, and essentially they've made a few changes so that they're more appealing to the gamer of today. Which me, as a hardcore guy, I'm sort of like, no, you can't do that. You can't tinker. You can't tinker with the games. They should be as they were, so that people can appreciate how difficult it was and how awful they were and the things that we had to put up with. But
they haven't changed the difficulty settings on any of them, though, have they? I was watching, just before I came up to record the podcast, I've been watching the Rare Twitch stream, and they had 2 hours of Rare Replay goodness. I salute them to that, because it was just fantastic. 2 hours of really good Twitch stream, and they were saying they haven't tinkered with the difficulty level of any of the games.
I think they've added some save points or checkpoints in, though.
What they have done is, if you're playing Jetpack, you've almost fueled up your rocket, and you die. What you can do is you can hold down the left trigger, and it will rewind, a la kind of Spelunky. Can you do that, Spelunky? Can you rewind?
No, that's Braid, I think.
Braid, yeah, so you can rewind and then kind of continue going, which I really loved, because that's just like, thank you, that's going to help me.
It cheapens the whole experience, damn them.
You're such a purist.
I'm a purist, but or just have an option to play it pure. I don't know, but yeah. So
well, it is. I mean, you don't have to press that left controller.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to do that. It's like, in Forza, there is a rewind button in races, and sometimes I just take my knocks and I continue going, thinking I'll catch up to them. But sometimes I flip the car and I do rewind. So
it's an option, isn't it? It's a bit like you could say that about the DLC. The people that moan about DLC, as long as you're getting a full experience in the game that you've bought, it's like, well, you don't have to buy it. It's an option.
But the thing about Rare Replay, like I say, I've got to watch that Expert Zone Twitch stream, and I've watched this. And I must admit, I did say I salute Rare for that Twitch stream, but what they're doing throughout this whole... I have never been this hyped for a game in a long time. When I'm looking at my Twitter feed, I'm getting Rare Replay. When I'm, looking at Twitch, and I'm very excited for it. And they're doing I'm excited about this anyway. When it was announced at E3, I was uber excited. But it's just really kind of getting me. I can't wait for Tuesday, when it comes out. As you and I were talking earlier, it's just like, right, let's try and get together to see if there's any online stuff. Let's kind of, both be at our Xboxes on Tuesday. Let's play this. There's on Friday, if you're like me, a bit of a t-shirt buff, Insert Coin have been teasing that they've got a new line. So last Friday they announced their Bloodborne line, but this Friday I have a feeling, had a bit of a wink from Insert Coin on Twitter today, because I was like, are you teasing the Rare one? And I got a little bit of a wink. So Friday at 12 o'clock, you might get the new Rare t-shirts from Insert Coin. So while you're listening to this, pop over to Insert Coin t-shirts and it might be there. But they're frenzying me. I can't wait for that to unlock, for my download to unlock, and I can just get into it.
I'm sure there's going to be loads of different options as well. Like, they're going to have an option that if it's looking too clear for the purists, they're going to have like a CRT sort of overlay, so you can see how it looked in the old days as well.
What they have is, if you're playing Jetpack or Attic Attack or any of those games, any of those kind of Spectrum games, or any of that, what you can do is there's an option that changes it to CRT. So you've got these really cool borders left and right because it was 4:3, and then what you can do is you can change it to this kind of like TV mode, and it almost concaves your screen, and you've got some lines as well.
Some scan lines for the
some scan lines. And they were playing Jetpack. I think they were playing Jetpack last night, and they were playing Jetpack. They turned this on, and it actually looked better. It looked really nice. So I think I might do that with those games. And like I say, today on the stream, they had like 2 hours. They showed some Conquer. They showed some Killer Instinct. They showed Jet Force Gemini. Great thing about Jet Force Gemini, you go into the options of Rare Replay, they've got a modern control system. So with me, I don't like inverted, and it was one of those things that I hated about Jet Force Gemini. I was always looking at the sky when I wanted to aim. You can change it now, turn the inverted off, and have a modern control system, which means it feels more like an over-the-shoulder game. And also, for Jet Force Gemini, they've got a widescreen mode as well.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah, because I love inverted, you see. And
yes.
I played...
Weirdo.
Yeah, weirdo. It's strange. I don't know what it was. I think it might have been Elite or something. And ever since I played Elite, which I think forced it, I've always had to play this way. And I played Beyond Good and Evil on 360 when it got released on Xbox Live. And that wouldn't allow you to change it. And I struggled through, but it annoyed me, all the way through. It annoyed me. So I can sympathise. So there's going to be loads of special things. I wonder if there's going to be some unlockable games in there too. There's only a few K. They might have just stuck a few of it because Rare have got such a big back catalogue.
Absolutely. I mean, they were saying on the stream, it was like I say, it was a really good stream. I mean, it's quite funny because what they were teasing was they were showing the UI, they were showing the interface, they were showing all of the behind the scenes, and just hearing them talk about the behind the scenes, I just realised that I'm going to spend a lot of time, headphones on, listening, watching these behind the scenes features of these amazing games. One of the games I must say that looked incredible was Grab by the Ghoulies. Now, Grab by the Ghoulies was out on Xbox, the original Xbox, and they've taken it. They were saying that one of the guys who was on the stream, which was his Twitter handle is Big Sheep, he was James Thomas. He was talking about Grab by the Ghoulies. It was one of his first games. It was his first game that he did at Rare, cool. And they basically re-went and had a look at all the code. He was a bit embarrassed at his code, etc. And they've remastered it, if you will, and it really looks good. It looks very smooth. It looks very shiny. And I'm going to go, as you said last week, you kind of did it, you said the right thing, which was you're going to go chronological, and I'm going to do that as well. But I can't wait to get to Grab by the Ghoulies. It looks fantastic.
It might be difficult because,
yes.
If we go, I mean, I don't know whether what we're going to do. We're going to try and complete them because those early games, man, they're hard.
Well, they've also got a thing called almost challenges. I forgot what they're called now. Apologies, but they're like kind of like challenges where you can play just like a slice of a game. So it's like do this level, but those kind of challenges have leaderboards attached to it.
Awesome!
So it's like do a level of Battletoads and see who can do it quicker. And then they're the ones that you and I are going to be teasing each other on. And that's going to be a really interesting one. Like I say, can't wait to get hold of it. I'll have a good play on it next week, and Darren and I will, and then we can kind of feedback next week. But it's looking very special, and I do thank Rare for doing this because I didn't know I needed it, but now I've seen it, I just can't wait for it.
Yeah, and I definitely echo those sentiments. And hopefully, if there's other developers out there or publishers that have, the license is not too intricate and a complete nightmare, maybe it'll encourage a few more compilations because it'd be great to see a resurgence of an appreciation of where games came from, and that's exactly what this does. And it's great that Rare were there sort of back in the day, and they're still delivering quality content today. Hooray! I can't wait. Yeah. So moving on. The next thing that I've got to report on is that No Man's Sky developer Hello Games' is main spokesman Sean Murray seems to have hinted at No Man's Sky being Morpheus compatible on the PS4. Excuse me. They haven't commented at all on any support for Morpheus or Rift until until I think yesterday it was. The quote that I've got here from VR Focus, which is a website that I quite like for getting information on VR, because I'm, as yourself, I'm very interested in when VR is going. But Sean Murray said that he didn't know what he was allowed to say in terms of possible VR support in a recent interview with Edge magazine. And he said, "I don't know what I'm allowed to say," he stated. "It's something we're thinking about. Morpheus, Oculus. There's nothing more cool in sci-fi than VR and a big procedural universe. I think that for the people who want to just explore, and even for the space combat and things like that, it would be a good fit. Let's put it that way." So it's sounding optimistic.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he hits the nail on the head there. It's a really good fit, isn't it? Looking at those IGM firsts, when you've landed on a planet and you're discovering it for the first time, having that in Oculus would be amazing.
Yeah, and because it's a slow paced game, isn't it? You can see from the footage that we've seen, it's no Call of Duty. You sort of you walk about, it's all very smooth, but it's got a good pace that I can imagine fitting very well with the way that you look around the scenic landscapes with a HMD. Be it Oculus or Morpheus, but if it's going to get one, it's going to hit the other. And with PS4, Sony are really bigging it up with No Man's Sky as if it's an exclusive, when I believe it's just a timed exclusive and it will be released on other consoles. But it may as well be a PS4 first-party game for the way that it's being talked about by Sony. And yeah, I think that the cat's out of the bag there, and it's just fantastic. Yeah. And then it's just, I can't wait to get a Morpheus. That
I must admit, that would make me want to buy a Morpheus if it was like. Do you think No Man's Sky is kind of close to completion, but they're holding it back? Because if you look at Sean Murray at this year's E3, he was kind of like, "I'm gonna show you a bit again," as much to say it's ready, but maybe we're waiting for Morpheus.
And he sort of said as well. He said, "We'll give you a release date soon, I promise." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
yes. So maybe we get a beta without Morpheus, and then just to kind of test their servers, make sure everything's okay, and then a Morpheus. I mean, it would make sense to bring them out together and launch them together rather than bring it out and then say, "Oh, now you can play as Morpheus." It's interesting. It's really interesting, and it sounded like he was very tongue-tied, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That he couldn't say anything, and he wasn't sure.
It did come across like that, didn't it? As if he'd say less because he didn't want to put his foot in it, if you like. But yeah, that's a great idea that you had there. I mean, I could just see that. Hold it back to like holiday season, and because you could bring out a bundle, couldn't you? PS4, Morpheus, and No Man's Sky together at a really good price.
Wow, that would be awesome.
That would fly off the shelf.
It really would. It would just absolutely fly off the shelf. And you're right,
that gets me excited.
And you're right, it's kind of looking at the combat when in the IGN first, when they kind of had quite a lot of people, and even Sean was like, "Whoa, this is quite bad." It wasn't fast paced, was it? It was very kind of, you could get away from it quite quick. And just imagine landing on a planet and just looking around in Morpheus. That would be, for me, of all the things that I've heard about Morpheus, I think that would be the system seller for me.
Yeah, that would be the one, wouldn't it? Oh, it'd be great. But you see, my theory was, because it appeared on IGN first, I was theorising that it would be out soon, because that's what they did with Bloodborne. And they've done some other ones, and which I can't remember just offhand. And
they did Forza. They did Forza Horizon.
That was it. Yeah. They did. And they were always when the game was quite imminent. And we discussed this, didn't we? And said it made sense from a PR point of view to build the hype as part of a month-long sort of hype train. And then it comes out not so long after it, which is what happened with those other games. So I was thinking it was due. But I mean, even if they don't bring it out with Morpheus, there's so many people that it's gonna sell like hotcakes anyway when it comes out. And then bring out Morpheus and say, yeah, Morpheus is going to be compatible with No Man's Sky. Everybody's got. You could pretty much say that anybody that's going to buy Morpheus, that's in the market for it now, like we are, would own No Man's Sky, because it's such a big game. And really, I don't know a gamer who doesn't want No Man's Sky. So they'd just be like, yeah, now Morpheus, and there's an extra reason to get it. I'd buy it. You know, it'd be, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't forget, Sony are not at Gamescom, but they will be at Paris Games Week, and that's in October. So maybe, they'll tease something. Because I kind of see Gamescom as a Microsoft show now, because there's no Sony, there's no Nintendo, so it's very much kind of a Microsoft show. So will Sony do something to just spoil the fun for Microsoft just before Gamescom? So, kind of like Tuesday next week, they'll go, oh, by the way, there's No Man's Sky's out in a couple of months' time, or something like that, to get people kind of talking about Sony and get their focus away. I'm sure they're probably sitting there in a room right now trying to figure out how they can steal the light away from Microsoft in Gamescom.
Yeah, and let's hope they do. And that's why competition in the industry is great and a great thing. Never mind about all this hatred between fanboys and factions. It's all nonsense. At the end of the day, competition means the consumer wins. That's all I've got to say on that.
Yeah, no, indeed. You only have to look at the free games that we'll talk about in a minute. The free games that we're getting this month, and you can see that the competition, we're the winners on this, because there's some stonkers in there.
Absolutely, you need it. And on the was it Podcast Unlocked with Phil Spencer and what have you, with Ryan McCaffrey?
Yep, it was indeed.
Was it the 101?
It was 201.
201.
201, where they were saying, that it keeps them on their toes.
They were saying that, they wouldn't want it any other way. And,
no.
you got the guys there. I took that, I believe what they say there, and it keeps them on the toes. It makes their job more enjoyable because they've got a goal. They're getting up for the big fight in the morning, to be the best. You can't be the best if there's no competition, can you? You're just there by default, and you wouldn't get that same fire, and you wouldn't get that same satisfaction, I'm sure.
I mean, you only have to look at the full lineup, what Microsoft have, to realise what competition does, because they're lagging behind in this console race. They haven't sold as many as PlayStation 4, and look how many exclusives they got this year.
Yeah.
That is because they are on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a cycle.
It really is. It really is. So, like I say, for you and I who own both consoles, it's just amazing. It's a great time to, as we've always said, it's a great time to be a gamer. And I just wish that there wasn't so much, like when you go onto a website, and I've kind of stopped doing it sometimes, but when you go onto a site and you look at a game, or there's something about Gears of War, you look at the comments, and it's just like, oh, it's not on PlayStation, and it's all that sort of, oh, it's not on Xbox. So you're like, oh, just get both.
Yeah,
everybody just get both.
Yeah. But then if everybody got everything, wouldn't it be the same as there only being one platform? I don't know. Yeah. That's another debate.
There you go. So, last piece of news before we get on to our kind of new games this week.
Yeah, just a quick thing, really. And it's just to say, they've announced, Square Enix has confirmed that Rise of the Tomb Raider is coming to PlayStation 4, as we all sort of expected, and they announced the release date, because we knew it was an exclusive, for a timed exclusive for Xbox One, and it's going to come out in Christmas time, or holiday 2016. And then there's going to be a PC release as well. So really, I'm talking about the PS4 thing here. So what do you think about waiting a year? Do you think they shouldn't bother releasing it? Do you think that it's a mistake that they've decided to do that? Do you think they're going to annoy the PS4 crowd? What do you think?
What gets me is when they kind of announced this, and again, this is kind of, it's almost like, who announced it? Was it Sony or was it Square Enix?
I think it was Square Enix that announced it.
See, that's really interesting. I'm surprised that they're announcing it before the Xbox One version, because, when this was announced...
Maybe it was the same guy that announced the NX faux pas.
He was loose-lipped that day, wasn't he? It was loose-lipped.
Wasn't Nolan North or something.
Yeah, but, it's just like...
it was Square Enix,
yeah. When they announced the E3, they said, this is an exclusive to Xbox. People were interviewing Phil Spencer straight away and asking, what is this exclusive? Is it timed? Is it complete? And his phrasing, his reply was very precise, and he never said anything. But you kind of had that feeling that it's going to end up. I mean, I think it's coming out on PC quite soon after Xbox One, but then PC is still kind of, in quotes, Microsoft. But
Yeah, early 2016, I think.
Yeah, exactly. To announce it that it's coming out on Xbox next year, it's almost like we're not bringing it out on on PlayStation. We're not bringing it out on PlayStation. We're going to get out of the way of Uncharted, and then once you've done with Uncharted, we'll have the Tomb Raider for you, for your extra Uncharted fix. It's a weird one, and this has always been a weird one where you get this large franchise and you kind of make it exclusive. That has always been it's always been one of those kind of head scratch moments. But to see that it's coming out now, it is just it's just Microsoft playing a lot of money for just to get Tomb Raider this Christmas to make sure that there's even less for Sony to have and to shout about.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, for me, I think it could work one of two ways. My initial gut reaction was, well, by next year, by next Christmas, then Rise of the Tomb Raider will be old hat. No one's going to be interested. It's going to have lived and been finished on Xbox One, 15 months or 14 months earlier. It's not going to really be an entity anymore. It's almost as if it would be like the PS4 version would kind of be like, I'd look at it the same way as a remaster because I've already done it. But we're in the fortunate position of having both consoles. So if I had only the PS4, how would I feel then? I don't know. I might be stubborn and say, right, no, you didn't get it, so I'm not going to buy it. But it might also be that everybody gets dead excited about it and jumps in, and it's a good way for them to sort of make a load of money for Xbox and then wait. And if it works out, I'm sure they'd want it to work, build up the hype again nearer to the holiday time for PS4. And make another big sting, and maybe doing it in two shots it could work better than both together. I don't know,
but it's going to mess it up because the Tomb Raider will probably be every other year, so that just means that the PlayStation, it's going to kind of almost bunch them together, because unless Microsoft have the exclusive over every Tomb Raider game now, so you have to wait an extra year if you're just on PlayStation. But you're right, there's probably going to be a large percentage of people that are like, well, you never came out on me, you never came out at the same time, so I'm done with you, and I think there was a lot of that rage when Microsoft announced that it was exclusivity. There was a lot of PlayStation only gamers that were like, no, I'm not going to bother with you anymore. I'm going to stick with my Uncharted.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I'm sure that I've read something that No Man's Sky isn't an exclusive to PS4.
No, absolutely. I mean, they said so
so it could be the same kind of thing.
So absolutely, they said so on the PlayStation. Not the PlayStation Unlocked, but the IGN First. They said something on there where they were saying, I know we're playing with a PlayStation controller, but there could be, there is potential. Right. And I think Sean Murray was almost kind of saying, wink, maybe, it's going to come out. So
you see, I'd feel different about that. You see, if No Man's Sky, I've had to wait a year for it on Xbox, and I only had an Xbox, I wouldn't care. I'd just be like, well, I'm getting it. It's unfortunate, because that's a game with I don't know, it feels for me more important than Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider I could sort of get annoyed about and refuse if I wanted to. Especially as, like, on PS4 you've got Uncharted anyway. But No Man's Sky, that's something that it wouldn't matter to me. They could delay it for a year and a half, and if I only had that console, I'd just be eager, and I'd eagerly await it. I'd be a little bit sad, but I'd just be happy that I was getting it, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that always kind of was a little bit bitter about that, I mean, it doesn't matter to me because I'll be playing it on Xbox One and I'm looking forward to it. But the thing that always was a little bit kind of really when they announced that was that Tomb Raider started on a PlayStation. The original Tomb Raider was on PlayStation 1.
Yeah. The spiritual home is there, yeah.
And then it's just kind of, it's shacking up with this other.
Before you know it, Metal Gear Solid 5 will be coming on Xbox like months before PS4, because that's another one that's got its home on PS4, and cats and dogs living in harmony.
Absolutely. I mean, I think kind of with No Man's Sky being a brand new game, it matters less that it comes out on Xbox in a year's time. That just kind of builds hope. If you're an Xbox only player, then you're just kind of like, I can't wait for that. But it's because this was a cross-platform game, and then suddenly it becomes this kind of this exclusive for one. I think that's kind of the weird thing, and I think the biggest the biggest kind of what the hell moment out of all of this is that Square Enix, before the game has been announced, they're saying it's coming to PS4.
Yeah, that's the strange thing, isn't it? Yeah,
and that's what the real story is here. I would have expected to see that announcement in January, or I'd expect to see that announcement, kind of in December after it's been out for a while.
Yeah, when the dust has settled. Yeah,
absolutely, because there could be some people going, I've got to buy an Xbox One because I really want to play Tomb Raider, and now Square Enix are going, don't worry, you're getting Tomb Raider next year. They go, okay, fine, I won't worry. I should suspect that there's that Mr. Spencer might be a little bit peeved at this.
Yeah, because surely the point in reserving it and getting an exclusive, you get exclusive games, you get exclusivity. Even if it's a timed exclusive, it's selling your console on the back of the game.
Yeah.
And like exactly as you say, oh, well, if you've got some patience, you don't need to worry. I mean, I'm pretty impatient. I don't know whether all gamers are, but I'd be down. I couldn't wait if it was something. If it was No Man's Sky, for instance, Tomb Raider, I could wait because there's an alternative. There's nothing like No Man's, something like that. I would be like, oh, I don't care. I'm going to buy that console. But if they wanted it to have that kind of impetus that would get people that would shift consoles, then there should have been an embargo on Square announcing the date for the Xbox, the PS4 release until, like you say, till the dust has settled and you'd had your initial spike.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was PlayStation 4 only, and I knew that Tomb Raider was coming out, and it does look gorgeous, yeah. And for some reason, I didn't have an Xbox that the Rare Replay and Forza and all that didn't attract me. And I was like, I'm going to buy it for Tomb Raider. And then suddenly I hear that. I'll be like, do you know what? I'm going to save that £300, £400. I'm going to play the Nathan Drake collection. That gives me my Tomb Raiding kind of fix. I'm going to just play Star Wars Battlefront, and I'll wait until next year for that. I'm probably going to get a better version.
Yeah. And the money I've saved is my whole games for the next year, including that.
Yes, absolutely. I'll just pre-order it when it comes out on Amazon. So I do think that it's a weird one. It's a real weird that announcement's been made now.
Yeah, so many interesting slip-ups and what we deem as mistakes happen. And we'll never find out the truth, but it's good fun to speculate.
Yeah, someone got strangled in Square Enix. That's actually where Phil Spencer is right now. He's strangling someone at Square Enix. Like in The Simpsons, when Homer squeezes Bart's neck. That's the image I've got with someone from Square Enix and Phil Spencer right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, as we teased, new games. So the free games, have been announced. So both Microsoft and PlayStation have announced. So Xbox's Games with Gold for August was announced today, and we're getting 2 again for Xbox One, which is it now seems to be that's the thing now, doesn't it?
It always was the thing, though. So it's right, isn't it? Should be the thing.
Absolutely. So what we're doing on Xbox One, we're getting Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. So that was over on the PlayStation last month. We're getting it this month on Games with Gold. And that's from August the 1st to the 31st. And then we're also getting on Xbox One, on August the 16th, we're getting How to Survive the Storm Warning Edition. So How to Survive is I think it's kind of like an isometric fast-paced zombie shooter. Think kind of Dead Nation game, and that's kind of how I see this game. I was sort of looking around this morning when they announced it. I thought I'd have a bit of a click and see, and I saw some kind of gameplay footage at GameSpot. It looks interesting. It's a freebie, so you can just dive straight in. But it looks good. It's a co-op game. You can just kind of build your little encampment, and you can just survive. So it looks like it could be some fun.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. I mean, it's free if you're a subscriber, so why not dip in and have a look? And Metal Gear Solid 5 is a sensible decision, both from a marketing point of view, really. I'm saying there, because obviously Phantom Pain's coming up in September, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then over on Xbox 360, you've got the Metro games. So what we've got is we have from the 1st to the 15th, we have Metro 2033. And then from the 16th to the 31st of August, we have Metro Last Light. Now, it's worthwhile, anyone who is listening who has got an Xbox Live subscription, download these. Just go onto the store, go onto xbox.com, bag them, because, they could be backward compatible titles. So the moment that becomes available, whether in the preview or when it becomes available later on in the autumn, you might be able to download these. These could potentially be backward compatible titles. I mean, both of them, they have been remastered for the Xbox One, and they look good. They're fantastic games. So it's definitely worthwhile just popping onto the store and just hitting buy. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to download them. You just need to hit that buy button.
Yeah, that's great advice, and we should all start. I think it's just great advice for everybody with an Xbox One. Is just get onto those 360 free games and let's just start collecting them, just in case. Why not? It costs a click. Why not?
Absolutely. And then we have PlayStation. Just before we started recording, PlayStation came up and they gave us their PS Plus for August, and what we're getting is, we've just been talking about her, but we're getting Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, I think it's called.
Osiris.
Thank you very much for me. I just butchered that.
It's because we've been on too long.
So that's coming out, and that looks good. I never played that, actually, when it was on Xbox, so I'm going to definitely download that.
Yeah, I played it, actually. It's a good game. Is it good? It's the top-down sort of isometric adventure, and yeah, it's really good. It's really playable, and you can do like a sort of two-player link-up as well. I think not online, I don't think, though I can't remember, but definitely you can do couch co-op on it, and you've got different abilities. Like you meet this god, and he's got a big spear, and he can help you get over certain platforms with his spear and stuff. Yeah, it's a cool game. Well, it's a good game. Yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic. Also, we're getting Limbo as well. So the 1080p PS4 version Limbo. I recommend that anyone kind of just downloads that. If you're on the PS4, you're on the PS Plus, download it. It's a fantastic game. I love Limbo. And so that's coming. We've got God of War Ascensions for PS3. We also have Stealth Inc. 2, a game of clones, and that is cross-platform on PS4, PS3 and PS Vita. We also have Sound Shapes as well, and again, that's cross-play on PS4, PS3 and Vita. And Castle Storm, the complete edition, which is coming out on Vita, and I'm quite excited about that because I played that on, I think it was a Games with Gold title a couple of months ago, and when I was playing it, I was thinking, God, this would be really good on my Vita, and it's coming. So it's coming on the 4th of August for the UK, for worldwide now, isn't it? Because UK get the PS Plus the same day as everybody else.
Yeah, Tuesday for everybody now. Yeah, great.
Bit of a public announcement. Rocket League is leaving PS Plus on the 4th of August. So if you haven't bagged Rocket League, similar to what we were saying with Metro, if you haven't bagged Rocket League before the 4th of August, just do it. Just do it, play it, it's awesome. So Rocket League is available until, at time of recording, we've still got about 5 days, but 4th of August, Rocket League leaves the PS Plus.
Yeah, it would be madness. It would be madness to miss out on that. It's a great game. And I have it on good authority, though. I missed Metro myself, but I had a few friends that played it. I think I was on another game, and they said that they're really good. So your 360 gamers, they're getting a really good deal as the console sort of declines or comes to the end of its life. They're getting some great games on these giveaways.
They are, and and we can't stress enough about the backward compatibility as well.
Yeah, sort of feather your nest.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, that's about it for this episode. So, as always, all that remains to say is a big thank you for listening to this podcast. It's a pleasure as always. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoftheLostSpark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and we're at Gamers of Lost Spark, or on Twitter, and we're at Lost Spark Pod, and we're also on YouTube as well. Darren, where can we find you online?
You can get me as Wythamator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, Dazza Gamer on YouTube, and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
Excellent. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and I'm Chessman UK on Twitter. If you have any feedback, please send us an email. Our email address is feedback@gamersoflostspark.com, and also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. So that's about it. We'll see you next week post Rare Replay. So catch you later. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.